All right, welcome to the Traction RIA main meeting online totally this month for all of our regions. Which month? November 2023. So it's Tom Zeeb, president of Traction RIA. Really happy to be with you guys today because there's a lot going on. I'm super excited for the end of this year and the beginning of next year. And you know why I'm excited? It's for the exact reason that everyone else seems to be scared, senseless, let's say. I clean that up. People are scared because, oh, wait, the market's falling, it's collapsing, it's changing, things are bad. And they're using that as their excuse to not do anything. Now, maybe if you're a retail buyer, it's not a great time anymore. I mean, interest rates are high and things aren't selling as easy. If you're a seller and you can't sell within 33 seconds like you used to, maybe that doesn't seem all that good. But you know what? That's other people. That's not us. The people here in this room, be this a in-person room or a virtual room like it is there, or online room as it is today, we're investors. We creative real estate investors at that. We should be thrilled and happy that things are changing, because the less options a seller has and the more motivated that seller gets with less options, who do you think they're going to turn to? Who can they turn to? They only have us to turn to. They need us more than ever, because the last time I checked, food, clothing, and shelter are still the three basic human needs. And we deal in shelter, right? We deal in shelter. So no matter what happens, there is always a need for housing. Therefore, there is always a need for what we do, because we take sellers that get into difficult situations, or properties that fall apart, or the properties in a difficult situation, and we're able to turn that around and make it nice again and put somebody in there. Oh, what if they can't afford it? Well, that's why we get good at creative finance. What if they don't know what to do? What they have no other options? That's exactly why we can package up options that will work for them. Every time when you look back through history, the market flops every 20 years or so, maybe longer. It flops. There's cycles. That's the way it is. But you look at every so-called downturn, that's when the big fortunes are made. They're not necessarily made when everything's going good and everyone thinks everything's great. That's when the normies do all right. We're not normies. We're special. Guys, think about it. You're obviously special. You come and hang out at a special place with other special people. This isn't like, just grabbing random people off the street. It's us. It's special. Therefore, things operate differently than for the normie world out there. And so what we are after is that we have to recognize now is our time. This is when the greatest fortunes are made, is when there's uncertainty or downturn. And so if that's what we're in, and I think a lot of indicators point in that direction, then great, good for us. I can't worry about everybody else. I can only worry about myself, my family, and my tribe of people here at Traction RIA. So good for us. We'll make everything a little bit better on everyone else too, by doing what we do best, which is buying properties. So let me share a screen, because I got a bunch of things I want to take you through today. So Traction RIA, online, we cover everywhere, nationwide, coast to coast, doesn't matter. What we teach works everywhere. But we specifically operate also, we have groups in the Washington, D.C. area, Tampa and Sarasota as well. And so what's the difference? Well, the difference is if you're local, then you can show up to some of our networking events. We're going to be talking more about that later. If you're anywhere else nationwide, I know we have a few internationals that pop in as well, but nationwide, those are our online events as well. So it's a mix of everything each and every month here at Traction. There we go. That's me. I kind of already introduced myself. Tom Zeeb. I was a member of this group long before I took over and became president. And this is the group where I learned to do real estate investing, and I learned how to make money. And since we are here to talk about making money, my attorney insists, and whatever, I pay the attorneys good money, so I guess if they insist on something, I'll do it. They insist that I put a disclaimer on the screen and tell you that there are no guarantees that you're going to make money, and there's no guarantee that you're going to be successful. The difference between successful people and unsuccessful people is the unsuccessful people have no clue what they're doing. The successful people learn what they're doing and train and then execute it properly, which is exactly what we're here to do, exactly why we bring in guest experts, exactly why we do Saturday trainings, exactly why we do everything we do, is to make sure we can train you up so that you make money properly and as safely as possible. So I'm assuming you found us somehow. Might have been social media, might have been word of mouth, might have been a friend. I would love to meet more great people like you. So if you found us on social media, share the word, post a comment, give a thumbs up, a like, a share. All of that goes miles these days to meeting more great people just like you guys. And if a friend referred you, well, one, thank that friend. And then two, think about friends that you have that might be very good to refer in as well. Simply send them a link to tractionria.com, have them enter their email address, grab one of those free bonuses we have on the site, and we'll take it from there. So it'll be good. That's the easy way to do it. Now, carrying on with the great networking opportunities we have both at our online events and our in-person is we've launched a Facebook group. Here's the thing about Facebook groups, gang. They could turn into ghost towns where there's like digital tumbleweeds rolling by. That's if nobody participates. You want to make the group into something, everyone's got to join it and participate in it. Just get in there and start talking. Post a question. Post a reference. Say, hey, I had this great plumber. Or I'm looking for an electrician. Or what do you think about this area? Or who's doing what, where? Whatever it is, get in there and start some conversations. This online group on Facebook, we're all on Facebook, right? So it's an easy spot to go to have a forum. It's going to be as successful as you make it. So jump on there. The banner looks like that. Go to Facebook, type in Traction, jump in, look for that banner, and you will find us. Now take a quick peek at your cell phones. I'm going to peek at mine too, because mine's been acting crazy lately. I'm going to make sure I go onto mute for the next couple of hours so that I don't get disturbed. This is our time, right? This is some me time. It's some you time. It's us time. I don't want outsiders interrupting me. I don't want them pulling my distracting me and pulling my attention away from what it is that I get to do once a month to focus in on and make money. So make sure you silence those cell phones. Now let's make some noise in the chat. In that chat box, if you can open up your chat box, and I would love to know where you are zooming in from. I was going to say calling in from, whatever, zooming in from today. We have Melissa is in Wisconsin. Presley's on Sarasota. Cool. Claude is in DC, Victoria in Miami, Erica in Woodbridge, Horace is in Alexandria, Virginia, Paul is in Colorado. Welcome, Colorado in the house. El Diaz in Oregon, Marguerite in the DMV, that's DC, Maryland, and Virginia, for people that may not know in that area. We got Riverview, Florida with Fran and Jessica Franklin in Washington, DC. Rob's in Maryland, Jim's in from Virginia, David's in Aberdeen, Maryland, Maurice from Richmond, Crystal in Waldorf, Maryland, Brunhilde in Silver Spring, Maryland, Teese in DC. We got Abraham in Alexandria, Virginia. Let's see, where else? This scroll's going fast. I'm trying to keep up with it here. Chad's in Rush, Colorado. Nicholas in Germantown, Maryland. We got Bristol, Virginia. We got beautiful Apollo Beach, Florida. We got Fairfax, Virginia, Maryland, Portland, Oregon, and Northern Virginia. Okay, we got a lot of people in the house. So if I didn't mention you, I'm sorry. Ron, don't want to forget you either. Delran, New Jersey. Awesome. So we got a pretty good geographical spread here. We're thrilled about that and happy about that. It's good.
Hey, now, Tom, nobody mentioned where I am. I didn't mention where I am. Wait a minute.
That's because you put it in the chat.
I'm going to win.
Put it in the chat and then we'll know.
Because I wanted to talk.
Where are you zooming in from today, Carolina?
I'm in Bogota, Colombia, 8,000 feet above sea level. Very cold. Colombia is not the Caribbean, people. Bogota is very cold, and I'm here a bit cold, out of breath, but still on traction. So, and you know what what just happened there? People telling where they are from.
Yeah. Just
realize that now you have all those connections. You now know that there is a traction person that can help you with a deal, with a lead, with a referral. So just by being here and telling us where you're from, you know, oh, I remember that traction person that was doing a deal in Maryland. Let me reach out to them. So another benefit of being part of this awesome traction family.
It's good to get to know people in other places because you get different ideas. And you might go, oh, heck, you're in a great cash flow area. Maybe the area you're in isn't as good for cash flow, but you go, oh, I want to invest in rental properties in your area. Help me out, and you can partner up. And then someone else might turn around and go, well, we have good cash flows here, but we don't make much on our rehabs. But oh, you're in a really pricey area. That's great for the rehabs or the wholesale. So there's a lot of crisscross that can occur. So it's really cool that way. All right, podcast wise, I was just recording another podcast earlier. So my podcast at tomzeeb.com. This season has been renamed to the art and science of real estate negotiation, because the focus is on putting deals together and doing real estate deals, particularly from the negotiation angle on it. So there are a lot of great interviews. The whole season, it's all interviews. Interviews with a lot of successful investors and some people from outside the industry that can help you in your marketing and in your negotiation and in your, dare I say it, sales skills. That way we can all make more deals. So anywhere that podcasts are, Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcast, SoundCloud, or you can just stream it right off the internet as well. Go to tomzeeb.com and have links to it all from there. It's a darn fine season, if I do say so myself. Admittedly, I'm biased, but some people have told me they're really, really enjoying it. So I'm happy about that. I also have a best-selling book available on Amazon. Just go to amazon.com, type in ZEEB. There's not many ZEEB'S out there. So it's called How to Correctly Flip Houses for a Profit. You can grab a traditional printed copy of it. We also have an audio version available as well. So go ahead and grab that off of Amazon and learn the structure of the business. Also, we have, and we are still proud to be, the only RIA in the country that has an app. We have the Traction app with all things Traction in one spot. If you are iPhone or Android, it don't matter. The app will work. You can go to tractionria.com/app or point your camera at that QR code right now. And no matter which operating system you're on, you'll be redirected to download the Traction app, where the entire podcast streams through there. All of our daily email trainings are on there. Our events calendar is on there. An enormous amount of YouTube video trainings on there. There's a lot of other things, Traction, all in one spot on the app. We encourage you to download that app today. Good that way. Now let's hear from you guys. Let's hear some success stories. Who has a success story from either since the last Traction RIA meeting or the last one that you've personally been able to attend? Please, you can either pop it in the chat. Carolina wants to say something.
Tom, can you remind everybody our chat and kind of the house rules? We have a lot of new people, so maybe they don't know the dynamic and how things work at Traction. So the first one is, if you have your video on, awesome, turn it on. And then Tom is going to explain how the chat works and how we can respect each other. And then we'll take it to the success stories. If you have a success story, just raise your hand and then Tom will call up your name.
Awesome. So go ahead and raise your hand. Carolina's going to help you look for hands that are up, because I know it's hard to see. I think I know David Hayes is in the midst of a deal, but let's see if David, you are welcome to unmute. And anyone else that has a deal, please share. Horace, I know, has a deal. Horace, you can raise your hand or unmute. David Hayes, you're first up. Go for it, buddy.
Well, thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm currently working on a rehab that's in Aberdeen, Maryland. It's right outside of the Aberdeen Proving Grounds. It's a 6-bedroom, 4.5 bedroom home with a functional attic. And we're right in the middle of doing the renovation. It's probably going to be on the market soon. I don't really know what soon is, so it has question marks behind it, because this has been my challenge, but we're overcoming it. We're getting things done. So hopefully it'll be on the market soon. And I also have talking with another family who is in the process of trying to determine what they're going to do with their home. Hopefully I'll have that to present next month. It's going to be in Potomac, Virginia, down by Potomac Mills. I'm sorry, by Potomac Mills. And it's a nice property. It's been expanded. And it's, like I said, that'll be coming hopefully next month. So stay tuned.
Busy days, David Hayes. I like it.
Yes, it is.
Congrats. Good work. Horace Robinson, are you able to come off mute? There he is.
Hey, Tom, how you doing?
Doing great, Horace. How are you?
Feed my face. So, yes. Well, this month I don't have a lot. I have one that I have on a contract this afternoon. I put it on the contract this afternoon.
Nice.
I got it through our driving for dollars stuff, but I didn't really get a lot of to put a lot of input in the driving for dollars videos.
Yeah.
But I did do my driving for dollars.
Good.
This came from it. So I did some negotiations this afternoon. They have my contract. I should be hearing something from them either this evening or tomorrow. So if it is, then it shouldn't be too bad. It's a 2-bedroom, 1 bath. I'm getting it for $53,000. It'll do Section 8 for $1,300 a month.
Nice. Cash flow nicely.
Yes.
The Driving for Deals Challenge. That is now the 3rd deal that I've heard is in process. It's only, the challenge was last week, so a lot of things are in process. I'm going to be very excited to see the profit numbers in a few weeks when everyone closes.
And it has also added something to it also, because I've gone to the point where I start doing door knockings now. I go in a neighborhood and, I see a property and I start knocking on doors around to find out if anybody else is interested. So.
You took last month's theme to heart, Horace, because the
yes.
theme the theme attraction in October was marketing. So, and specifically with the Deal Machine Challenge to get you guys out there driving neighborhoods. And we did that right after we had Tony Young's teaching how to door knock, how to knock on doors. And the combination of the two is a deadly combination.
Yeah, I've met a couple owners in the process, but nobody's really ready to sell as yet. So I just keep them on a drip after that with Deal Machine.
These are my two. Deal Machine makes the drip of contact really easy. And there's actually some new features coming out in about a week. I'm sworn to secrecy to say what they are, but Matt brought me through them the other day, and it's incredible what Deal Machine is adding. It's like a whole new version of Deal Machine, like 3.0 coming out. It's you guys are you're going to go nuts over it. So stay tuned on that. You'll enjoy it. And glad to hear you getting some good deals down. And glad to hear Marketing Month Attraction has worked out well.
Yeah, it has. Thanks.
You're very welcome. Anyone else have a deal that they want to share in success stories?
I don't see anybody, but it could be as easy as I sent my first round of postcards. I connected with a realtor. It could be as simple as that. I got my first seller telling me you're crazy and hung up the phone. It could be a rejection too. It could be. But I think that's. And
Carolina says that because a couple people said to us, they said, "Gee, Tom, success stories, it's always, only if it happened. But some things were big steps for me personally. Can't I share that?" And we said, absolutely. We don't want to leave you out. If picking up the phone and making your first phone call was this major hurdle, then by all means, celebrate it. And we're happy to give you that round of applause and that digital fist bump or high five, because that's just awesome that you got it done. So.
Or if you don't feel comfortable unmuting, you can post it in the chat, which is meant for this type of interactions. And by the way, it's a quick reminder: the chat is meant for interaction only, for when we're asking you a question, and for also sponsors. Fran, congrats! You submitted 5 offers today. Fantastic! Congratulations. Yeah. It could be, it could be something as simple as that. I called 3 for sale by owner signs. I interacted with a realtor. It could be something like that. So awesome. I guess we can move on to the next round.
That sounds good. Carolina, you don't know this because, since you've been out of town, and I've got the kids all week, it's Dad's taxi. So we drive, I do the school run, we pick them up again at school, and we make all the sports runs, then we go somewhere to eat, then we go here, then we go there. Luckily, with all the driving around, there's been a lot of driving for deals and a lot of Deal Machine. And even Dominic pointed one out the other day. He goes, "Man, look at that place. It looks like it's in the jungle," because the place was so overgrown, it was awful. And then when we looked in the weeds, there was a for sale sign hiding in the weeds, a for sale by owner sign. So we tagged that one up in Deal Machine, and it's slated to be called tomorrow. I ran out of time before I jumped on this call today, so I'm excited about that. Crystal has her hand up.
Crystal, go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Tom and Caroline and everyone. I just wanted to share that I've been working as part of a group, and I think most or all of them are Traction RIA members, with Anthony Char's apartment mastery boot camp. So we are kind of preparing. We've been doing quick analysis on different apartment buildings in our team profile. We're looking at buildings that are 2 to 10 million in different markets, including Richmond, Virginia, Raleigh, North Carolina, and Charlotte, South Carolina. And we are preparing a letter of intent that we should get to a few apartments. That's like one of the next steps we're working on. So we're preparing those now, and hopefully we should have them submitted in like maybe the next week or so. So that's definitely exciting.
Fantastic. Good work. Very, very
Thank you. Thank you.
welcome.
Congrats, Crystal.
And Victoria is asking in the chat, what is Deal Machine? Yeah, I suppose I should explain it if you don't know. We've been flapping our gums a lot about it last month, but Deal Machine is an app for your phone, Victoria, that is totally awesome. It as you're driving around, it's a mapping application, but it's with all the stuff we do in real estate built into the mapping. So as you're driving next to a property, you see where you are, and all the properties show up on the map with the tax records. So you can touch it. All the property information shows up, the tax records, if it's been listed, if there's any photos available, and then stuff that we find in databases that it thinks it knows about the property. And you can tap it and add it to a list and immediately start a marketing campaign to it. So it's a really super cool app. I've got a special deal worked out with Deal Machine, and Carolina popped the link into the chat for that. Check it out. Do a 7-day free trial on it. See if you like it. If you like it, keep it. If you don't, that's cool. But I think you'll love it. I love it. It's made life a lot easier. And the 2 challenges we've done this year, the first challenge in the spring, 5 deals came out of it. 3 people on the challenge did 5 deals. And this last challenge from last week, now that I've heard this most recent one from Horace, we're on, it looks like number 3. So it's just a fantastic way of finding deals. We'll talk more about that in a minute as well. All right.
Yeah, there's a slide on their sponsors, so we can move on
Awesome.
to the next part, Tom.
Cool. Then the next part is about deal makers. If you have a specific deal, we kind of blended that a little bit on the last one, but if you have a specific deal you would like to mention to the group, go right ahead.
Raise your hand, please, and you must be a Traction RIA member, meaning you have paid the association dues, not a meetup, but you have to be a Traction RIA member. So if you have a deal, it could be a real estate, it could be, as long as it's in that you have control and it's about real estate, this is your chance for you to promote it. Let's see, or in the chat as well, you can put the information.
All right.
Did David say the one that he's working on is gonna be for sale soon, Dave? The one that you talked before?
No, neither one are ready yet. But when they are, I'll let you know.
Cool. He's got too much drywall ceiling to polish. Yeah. You gotta keep that workout going.
Yeah.
Oh, good stuff. Cool. All right. Now next we've got some sponsors. So, I got Carolina's going to introduce sponsors, and I hope I might have messed up and hid the slides, but I don't think so. So go ahead.
Do you want to stop
easy,
sharing and then?
No, just tell me when to advance the slide. Wait, do you have the same thing on the screen?
No. I'm saying, what is the next slide? Is it sponsors or my?
It's thank you. I'll tell you what, let's do some sponsors before I forget. I don't want to forget. Charlie, okay. I see you there, unmuted and ready to go. Tell us,
Charlie,
what do you offer? And very importantly, where, since we have so many people on from so many places.
Well, good evening.
Go ahead, Charlie.
Good evening, everybody. How are you? First of all, I want to thank all you guys that are online that are past, previous, and current clients. Thank you very much for your business. We're a private lender. We're what's called a direct balance sheet lender. We lend our own money. I'm not a broker. We service all of our loans. We're an asset-based lender in Maryland, DC, Virginia, Florida, and North Carolina. We have a pretty simple asset-based lending model. I don't do applications. I don't credit check. You just send me the deal. You just tell me, is it a fix or flip? Is it a buy and hold? I'll send you back how much we can and cannot lend on it. I've never turned down a deal. And so that's pretty much who we are, straight asset-based lender. I guess a couple of things I need to update you guys on in the lending environment. As you guys know, it's very, very tough and very challenging A lot of hard money businesses are hemorrhaging right now. Some of my competition in the DC area is either going out of business or they're having financial troubles because they've made some bad DC condo conversion loans and, bigger loans. And so they're sort of struggling on tough times. I'm seeing a lot of consolidation nationwide of fintech hard money lenders coming in. So we're still lending. We haven't changed our rates in 10 years. I turned 10 on October 30th. So the hard money, we've been in business for 10 years. Like I said, we continue to lend. We're continuously doing deals. I think Carolina has already put my information in the chat. Feel free to email me, call me anytime. I'll evaluate any deal you want me to do. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Charlie.
Gotcha. And Melissa's asking about in the breakout room, Charlie, so one of your clients was singing your praises. So the best way to get a hold of you, we popped all of your information there in the chat. So I want everyone to copy paste that out. So you have
Melissa, I'll send you your check later.
Good stuff.
Awesome.
Chloe Levy, you are up next.
Only if I unmute, right? Good evening, Traction. Chloe Levy, Realty for Biz Life here in the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia. I'm a realtor who I think speaks the way investors think. And so we do a lot of work with giving people a sense of what the house is worth as is, what the house will be worth when you're done. That's good for sellers, good for buyers, good for flippers. So if you're trying to get a sense of numbers, reach out to me. My contact info is on the newsletter, which I'm sure is out there someplace. And I know Caroline has been sending out info as well. So thank you much. Back to you, Tom.
Thanks, Claude. All right, awesome. Now, Carolina, I'll have you take over. Just let me know when you want the slide advanced. We're used to being in the same room. Now we're thousands of miles away. So just say next and I'll hit the button.
I think I froze, Tom. I don't know if you can still hear me.
Oh, you did. I can hear you, but yeah, your image froze. And you
Okay.
look very
I was
pensive.
about, can you please do me a favor? On the chat, please include Claude's information.
I will.
And also if you can put the newsletter link as well.
Absolutely.
If you can do those things. Because
Okay. Turn your camera
love it, my
off.
computer I froze.
You froze. All right, let's not worry about it. Keep going. You can see the screen, right? You know what to say.
My screen is turning
your
blurry.
screen
I'm gonna connect on my phone.
I'll tell you what,
so
you do that.
Keep going.
I'm going to carry on. I'll try to be every bit as charming.
Awesome.
Not every bit as lovely, but every bit as charming. All right, gang. So what Carolina would have said, what she wants to thank our staff, our ambassadors, our volunteers that run the show in various places and take care of a lot of awesome things. Particularly, we want to thank Crystal McCain, Dwayne McMahon, and Ginny Hurley, sorry. And there are some of us at one of our outdoor events, so we have good times. We can't be awesome without the volunteer support that we have. It's the volunteers that make it awesome. They make our lives a lot easier, and they take really good care of you guys in the background, whether you realize it or not. So we certainly want to give them a big shout out and a thank you. Now, Traction RIA operate nationwide, but we specifically focus on three areas: Washington, D.C., Tampa, and Sarasota, metropolitan statistical areas. And what that means is we're the exclusive group in those regions for the National RIA. So your membership in Traction RIA also makes you a member of National RIA. National RIA is what we're doing a lot of the lobbying through. So we specialize in those three areas for the lobbying efforts. So we try to have the different groups handle different states and different regions. One of our big success stories this year was basically saving wholesaling in the state of Maryland. I've told that story before. I'm not going to go through the whole thing right now, but using one of our members and one of my early students to get involved and get some nasty legislation killed in Maryland, which is good because that also killed it in DC, because DC was basically saying they were going to copy paste whatever Maryland did. So since Maryland didn't do it, DC is not copy pasting it either. So we effectively saved wholesaling in 2 states, which is totally awesome. And we work on that all over the place. So that's a lot of what your membership in Traction RIA does, is let us do great things in all regions and across the country as well, because National RIA and our lobbyists keep an eye on everything, federal and state. And that's a lot of different regions to keep an eye on. Speaking of National RIA, we love winning awards at National RIA. So this year we won another National RIA Award of Excellence. There we are, Carolina, and the current president of National RIA. And we've won an award every single year since we took over. We took over in 2008, and our first National RIA convention was 2009. And we have managed to pull down an award every year because we love the challenge of doing it. Tick some of the other groups off, but that's okay. It makes everybody better. That's what competition is for. So we love that, and we're working on all great things for this year. And I actually think saving wholesaling in Maryland, that alone is a pretty major feat. So that might be award winning. We'll find out. We'll find out when the next event arrives. So, there's the sponsors. You already met Charlie from Clear Sky. I just can't remember what order I put everything in. You met Claude. Deal Machine is a sponsor of ours as well, and we've cut a specific deal with them. So if you hit that link, tractionria.com/deal machine, not only do you get their usual 7-day trial, but they double the number of free credits that they give you. Credits that you can use for skip tracing to help find the phone numbers and contact information of the owners, or you can spend your credits on marketing by sending letters or postcards to the properties automatically. It's a really, really cool setup. Check it out, give it a test drive, or if you want to see any of the challenge videos we did, email me. I'll send you the recordings to the challenge that we did last week. And I want you to follow along and do the challenge because you're seeing how many deals are coming out of these challenges. It's crazy good. Deal Machine is can easily be your main source of finding deals. So that's why we're happy and proud to be working with them and have them as a sponsor. Then our biggest overall sponsor is the Home Depot. Home Depot is a fantastic partnership we have with them because our Traction RIA members spend a freaking fortune with the Home Depot. This group of just shy of 500 members between our DC regions, the Florida regions, and the people we have nationwide is spending, yikes. I didn't recalculate what it was because I saw the new report. Last year it was $52 million, which is crazy. Think about that. That's an enormous amount of money being spent because there's a lot of rental properties, a lot of rehab properties, and things add up. And so because Traction RIA members spend that much, then we are able to extend a lot of great discounts to you because they love taking care of us. So they give all Traction RIA members 20% off of paint, liquid paint. So I guess not spray paint, whatever, liquid paint, the paint itself. 20% off adds up really fast. So look at what your paint bill on a place is. Knock a fifth of it off, you'll be very happy. There's a cabinets program that gets 10% off. I've actually found this to give me even more off of cabinets. Depends on what cabinets you're using and when, but you're going to get at least 10% off of cabinets. That's a huge expense on your renovations as well. The 2% cashback rebate. This one's huge. I know it seems like the small number. It's only 2%. 2% adds up. Take that $52 million and take 2% of that. That's how much they're sending back to all of us. It's a huge amount of money. So we get our rebate check twice a year. We're thrilled with it. You guys get your rebate checks or gift cards twice a year. Should be thrilled with that as well. It easily pays for the we're not even charging $200 for annual membership in Traction RIA. You'll earn it back really fast, even just from the rebate. But all these things added up. Another great benefit is the volume pricing discounts. Now, there's no set percentage on this, but it averages 14% off. So what we have you do is take your job and bring it to the pro desk at the Home Depot store and have one of the pro account reps look at it. They type it all up. They bounce it off their computers in Atlanta, and stuff comes back with the discount. Some discounts are 0%, some are 10%, some are 14%, some are 30, 40%, 25%. It's all over the place. It averages 14%. So that's big savings for you. And then remember, you still get your 2% cash back on what you spend. So that's a pretty cool setup. Normally, you have to be spending a lot of money in a given week. They have a 7-day window. You got to be spending a lot of money to qualify for that. So some people do, but it's very few rehabbers that qualify for that. What we've done with the Home Depot is work it so they don't just look at you as you. They look at you as a member of the Traction RIA group, which is pretty much always spending that amount of money per week. We're spending a lot of money. I mean, you take 52 million divided by, that's about $1 million a week. So yeah, we all qualify. So it makes you qualify for that as well. We just got to make sure you are signed up correctly. So make sure you are registered properly for the rebate and everything else. It's a lot of different elements. I wish it were as easy as one single sign up.
I'm back, Tom.
But hey, there she is. Good. So what Carolina would tell you is you jumped in at the perfect time, because I'm just about ready to tell everyone, if you can't figure anything out with the Home Depot, don't worry about it. Email Carolina. She will hook you up with the right people, and you will be in good shape, because we want to make sure you're always getting that 20% off of paint. You're always getting the 10% off of cabinets. You're always getting the average of 14% off on the volume pricing, and that you are always also
Can
getting
you
2%
make me
cash.
co-host and add me to the spotlight, please? And then I can take over
you're
this
back.
slide, because
You're no
several people
longer
are
talking.
asking me, where's my rebate? So the first question is,
There you go.
are you a current Traction RIA member, meaning you're a member of the Traction RIA Florida, either online? Have you paid your dues with Traction? If you say yes, good. Number two, did you spend at least $5,000 on Home Depot between January and June of this year? If you say 2 yeses, then we move to the third one. Have you properly registered, meaning you have registered all your cards, you're all set up? If you answer yes to the 3, you should have received your check by now. It's normally between 60 days of when the period ends. So if you do not receive your check, please email me directly. Tom can put my email in the chat, or it's carolina@tractionria.com. And I can find out with our liaison at the Home Depot what happened. Sometimes you had an old address in your Pro Extra account, so the check went to the old address. Sometimes you didn't register properly. Sometimes it is that something wasn't working correctly. So if you answer yes to the 3 of this and you still didn't get your rebate, please reach out to me directly. Another thing that I wanted to talk about Home Depot before I move to this one is, if you're in a region and you need if you need me to connect you to a rep, a Home Depot rep who knows who we are, who understands our needs as investors, as rehabbers, or the way we think, please let me know. I'd be happy to connect you, because I know some of you have spent a lot and then you don't have a rep, and that connection, I am happy to make it. So if you need that, again, just email me. Somebody asked me, does that apply?
As well.
Yes. So yes, the Home Depot rebate works nationwide. With the National RIA program, you join your group that you live. So if you live in Florida, you join us. If you live in the DC metro area as well, then that's it. But whether you are in Wisconsin, somebody was asking that, the rebate still counts as part of your Home Depot purchases. These are other sponsors that have partnered with Traction, including Rent Perfect. They are fantastic for screening your tenants. Office Depot, they give us great discounts. FedEx, we even have a healthcare insurance plan, and even in DC, Six Flags. So the next one, I'll tell you just quickly how the new Office Depot benefits work. If you're a Traction member, then you get all these benefits that will save you money here, so you can spend it on marketing. So that's Office Depot. The other sponsor we have is FedEx. In general, you're gonna pay less. That's it. Save money here, spend it somewhere else. And this is how the member-only dashboard looks for the ones that are not familiar with it. We have all the member benefits. If my lovely Colombian accent is hard for you to understand, then you just go online and check, oh, how do I register for the Home Depot rebate? How do I use Office Depot? How do I look at clothes market update, some recommendations? Everything is in there. So if you have not joined Traction, again, it works nationwide. Doesn't matter where you are. You don't have to be in Florida or in DC. You can join us because we are an online community as well. So you can go to tractionria.com. I think that's the next slide, Tom, correct? Oh, yeah, another benefit. Once you join Traction, you get, this is kind of a membership card, and every time you attend an event in person in the DC region or in Florida or online, that is going to count. So at the end of tonight, I'm going to give you a virtual stamp, and then you can mark the date. Once you attend 10 events, with us, I let you choose 3 months of free membership, free entry to a Saturday class, or a $50 gift card. So if today is your meeting number 10, just email me directly with a photo of your card, and then I'll send you a gift card, or I'll give you an extension on your membership or a Saturday class. So that's another benefit of being a part of the Traction RIA membership. Again, join us now, tractionria.com/join. It's only $196 for one person. 2 is 2 people living in the same household, and then 3 people in the same business can do the $348 for 3 people. So that is our membership. Go ahead and do it right now, because if you join today before the end of the meeting, then today's meeting counts as your first temp. So you can log in online. And someone was telling me, Jessica, you have 10, fantastic. So then just send me an email with the photo of your card, and then we'll take you in. Margaret was asking, can we see on the app as well? Yes, all the information for Traction can be seen online. And the next slide is a super cool event. I'm gonna get the, I don't know, I don't have a orange apron, but I have it in Sarasota. We're talking about Home Depot. They always do a trade show with us. So we're gonna do 2 amazing events. The first one is our Florida Friends. We're gonna have it at Sarasota. So it's still the beer and real estate theme, the beer and real estate meeting, but we're gonna have a trade show. So we're not only drinking beer, but we're gonna be learning about all the different products and services that Home Depot has. I know PPG is coming, the paint, cabinets, so you'll be able to see actual cabinets. Sometimes last year Milwaukee Tools came over, so it's really cool because you can actually see the products and connect directly to the vendors, and then you can also establish a cool relationship, because you will need to buy, we all need to buy paint, whether you're a big renovator or not. So that's December the 14th. Put it on your calendars. It's a Thursday, 7 p.m., 9 p.m. The weather in Florida is beautiful. It's not going to rain that night, so don't worry. It's going to be super nice, breezy, lovely weather. So if you need an excuse to go to Florida, I will just go that day, and then you make it all tax deductible. It's like, well, I had to go to a real estate training, so I went. So come and join us in Sarasota, December the 14th. But don't worry, my DC friends. You are also going to have a really, really cool event. This is the second time we're going to do it, especially for us. It's at the Home Depot Design Center, which I think there's only 2 in the US, one in LA and one in Rockville, Maryland. This is pretty much every single product that Home Depot sells. You will see it. You cannot buy anything, but you can see every single toilet. You might not be able to try them all, but you will be able to see them all. Showers, faucets, cabinets, kitchens, every single refrigerator is there. So it's just Home Depot steroids. We go there, we have breakfast, and then you get to tour the entire design center. We have it for us. It's only for us, for the Traction family, 10 a.m. to 12. These events are free, but we just ask you to pre-register so we have a good head count. So that is December the 17th. It's a Sunday morning, so get up early. It's gonna be chilly, so come have coffee with me, check all the Home Depot stuff, and then do all your Sunday family activities. So that's the December 17th, and that is on the newsletter. So if you don't understand my accent or you don't remember dates, it's on the newsletter or on the Traction website. Let's see, what do we have next, Tom? This Saturday, everybody can join us because it's online, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. Donna is gonna be teaching us those hours about notes on how to make big profits. The price is only $29. Please go ahead and register now. That way we have a good number for Saturday, and then Donna knows how to prepare for all of you this Saturday. Go to tractionria.com or tractionria.com/Donna. That takes you to the Saturday registration page, and then you get an email with the Zoom link. So that's it. And then this Sunday, we have a super, super cool event. And I want to thank Jesse for hosting this. We are doing an in-person tour of our renovation. And yes, this is for the DC ladies. And yeah, we say ladies because it's a ladies event. It's fun. We take a look at the house that Jesse renovated. She goes and explains numbers, what she chose this house, how she did it, how long it took her. So it's a fantastic experience. The same, please RSVP. That way we can send you the address of the property, but it's in Vienna, Virginia. And it's going to be fantastic, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. So ladies, check that out. And Jesse will be there on Sunday. And I think that's back to you, Tom.
Cool. All right, coming back my way. So let's see what else we got. A couple things. New format we're rolling out for 2024. We've been listening to you guys and thinking about what would work best and how we could best connect people with each other and the knowledge they need. So new format coming down the pike for next year. We kind of hinted at what it is, but let me make a bit of a formal announcement about it. Our Washington, D.C. in-person meetings are going to convert to 4 times a year. I guess it'll be 5 times a year if we have the Home Depot event. That'll be again next December as well. But we're going to do the beer and real estate theme that we've already tested in Florida. Beer is coming to D.C. Beer and real estate coming to DC. We have a beautiful place for it as well. I'll mark those dates down or grab a screenshot of that. If not, we'll be putting it out in email as well. January 25th, March 14th, June 6th, and September 19th are going to be the in-person beer and real estate traction, beer and real estate events in DC. Where specifically, I'll show you a picture in a minute. So I think I have that out of order as well. We've got a great a brew pub lined up for that as well. Then in Sarasota, beer and real estate continues with monthly meetings. We'll have the details and the dates for those at tractionrea.com and what the different local spotlights are at those events as well. And we are going to be stepping up more of these exact nationwide monthly online events as well. So sometimes there'll be a full meeting like this. Sometimes there'll be a training like the Saturday. Sometimes it'll be something totally different. We got a lot of great ideas that we're rolling out based on the feedback we've had, because honestly, so much has changed the last couple of years. More people do things online. Sometimes people aren't in person. Traffic can be messy because everyone now goes out at the exact same times, right? COVID changed everything. We all know that. So we are adapting our format to best fit what serves everyone. Plus, I know, you saw how many people we have from across the country on the night as well. We don't like to leave you guys out and only see you a couple times a year. So we're going to step up the amount of nationwide online events that we do as well. Again, everything we'll be sending out via email, and you can always check the calendar on the tractionrea.com website. So I do that for full details. The beer and real estate event in Sarasota is coming up as well. So that's going to be back at the Mandeville Beer Garden on January 25th, which is a Thursday evening, 7 to 9 p.m. And then Beer and Real Estate, the first one that's going to be in DC, is coming up on Thursday, January 25th. Oh, they're the same night, aren't they? Look at that. Yeah, I'm running one, Carolina's running the other one. So we'll have competing beer and real estate. I guess this is a competition to see who drinks more. I don't know. Let's see.
No, who wants to be in the cold and who wants to be in a nice warm weather? But they're both gonna be fantastic. The Caboose beer place is super cool. We're gonna have really is a nice environment inside. We're gonna have vendor tables. We're gonna have tons of networking. I'm gonna have raffles. I'm gonna have prizes for you. Tons of networking activities. So you do not want to miss it. January 25th. If you're in New York, drive down, please. And then I'll see you there on the 25th. And then Tom will have some beer and warm weather. So you choose.
Oh, there we go. It's all good. I mean, the Caboose Commons in Fairfax is a beautiful location, a really cool setup. So you guys are really going to enjoy it. I dare say, now, again, I'm admittedly biased, but I think these are the social event of the year. So I would, make sure you scrub everything else off your calendar on those nights.
Tom, can you put the slide with the dates for DC, because I want people to understand how we're gonna do DC. We're gonna do 5 of this, 4, and then Home Depot. These are the days that we're gonna be in DC in person, so you do not want to miss them. January 25th, March 14th, June 6th, and September 19th. So please save it on your calendar, find babysitters, whatever you need to do, but you need to be there because we're not gonna be doing the monthly events at the hotel in Tysons that we used to be doing before. I want you here. I want you networking, interacting with people, meeting as many people as you want, and then we'll continue to support your education and more through online events. So mark those in the calendar, take a photo, we'll put them in the chat, but mark those because those are
Not-
important for our DC region.
Let me also say, it's not the format you've been used to in the past. It's a totally different format that we're doing on these. It's networking driven, it's social driven. It's going to be unlike anything you've been to before with us and probably other places as well. So we'd love to have you there. Grab those dates again. We'll be sending those out online as well. And you can get a sense of where they are. Now, with that being said, with no further ado, Claude, let me switch presentations and we're going to roll over to the market update. Claude, let me make sure I have the right screen being shared. And Claude, same thing. I will be your remote control. So just whenever you need the slide advanced, let me know.
Okay. We're ready to go, Tom. Let's start. This is a nod to the fact that not everyone here is from the DMV, so I'm trying to cover more things. And as we said in the breakout rooms, it's been an interesting year. So let's see, where is it that you find there may be the least risk? That's kind of what we're looking at here. So let's go, Tom. Next slide. Like that. And we're looking at the factors that are involved in reducing the risk are prices that are affordable, because a lot of people now can move around the country, right? Just because you're working in an office in New York doesn't mean you need to commute by subway to New York. So prices will stay high in lower cost areas because it's relatively affordable compared to higher cost metro areas. Low inventory. Of course, the less inventory there is, supply and demand tells you that then there'll be higher prices overall for those homes. And then thirdly, we look at markets that didn't quite crash in 2008, which you'd think maybe would be a good sense where they won't crash again. Next slide, Tom. So we're going to go through 10 cities from 10 to number one being the most risk averse. Number 10 is Knoxville. Knoxville, a couple of notes I'd want to say. This is a number of people. Tennessee is growing fast. So Knoxville, if you can see in the bottom of that chart, Knoxville has grown by 17,000 people in the last year, 14,000 people the year before. It's not a large city, so this is good. Home prices in the last year have gone up about 7%. I'll point out at the end of the presentation, we have a list of overvalued cities. Knoxville is in there because of the fact that prices are going up so fast. Next slide, Tom. San Diego. We just talked about high price cities. Well, the average price of San Diego is just under $900,000. So this is not what you call affordable, but it is all relative. One of the things about San Diego, even though it's overvalued, San Diego is next to a large military installation, which we'll see reasons why some of these cities are here later on, but a large cohesive military presence is also one reason that markets stay the way they are. This, by the way, is also overvalued. Next slide, Tom. Milwaukee. And some of these towns will surprise you because you probably don't think of Wisconsin. I think we have a couple of Wisconsin people here this evening, but Wisconsin is actually a good market here. Average price for the home right now is about $328,000, $329,000. They've lost a couple of people in the last years, but you know what? It is all about inventory. And so if they're losing people and yet we're not building as many homes as that, then inventory starts to shrink. And that's what's going on here. Next slide, Tom. Another place you probably wouldn't expect to find is New Haven, Connecticut. This town here actually gained some people in 2022, lost a few hundred people in 2023. Their prices for the Northeast are actually quite reasonable. I'd point out that their cap rate is also fairly decent compared to a lot of the ones you'll see in this list. And New Haven, by the way, is also home to Yale. Yeah, right, Yale, which is also a good reason to have home prices stable next to a college town. Next slide, Tom. Another college town is Trenton, which is close to Princeton. Trenton has lost a few people in the last 2 years. Let's understand, we're talking about here though, the number of homes on the market this month is 411. Last year, same time was 516. So we're not talking about thousands of homes. Like this isn't like we're talking about Miami or DC. These are smaller markets, but they've got decent cap rate. And we'll go to the next slide, Tom. We're going back to the south. This is also a fairly small town, but this is growing. It's got good, healthy growth, has had a lot of healthy growth for the last decade or so. And prices right now are up about 8%. And so that's good. Their cap rate is 6.5%. That's pretty good. Number 8, I just see that question. Number 8 was Milwaukee, by the way. And I'm sure that by overnight, this presentation will be on Carolina's website. Number 4, we're going back up north. This is Syracuse, New York. Syracuse has got Cornell, I believe. What's happened here is that prices are just so low compared to a lot of the rest of the country, including New York State. Prices are low, a good cap rate, losing some people, but they're not building as fast, and so you've got good appreciation year over year, which is kind of what we're looking at. Thank you, Stan. Syracuse University, not Cornell. Yeah, Cornell is Ithaca. My bad. Sorry. Good. Someone's keeping me honest. So if you're looking for, it depends what you're looking for, right? If you're looking for where am I going to be risk averse and get good cash flow, think about towns like Syracuse. Next slide, Tom. Rochester, another New York State. I would point out that in 2008, Rochester dropped 4% of value. And so Rochester is going to be risk averse to any crash we would have. I don't expect we're going to have a crash, but just so you know, Rochester is just plodding along. Decent cap rate, losing people here and there, really affordable prices, rents, relative to pricing is what you're looking at. So Rochester is worth a look at, and you should be comfortable and sleep well at night there. Next slide, Tom. Now we'll go back to the south. This is Fayetteville is a huge military town. Fort Bragg, which I think is now Fort Liberty. They've got a great cap rate. Prices again, $225, but that's a 9% appreciation about over the last year. And so a few people have left town this year, but we still feel because of the military presence here, which is a huge military presence, you should be very comfortable with them, be risk averse here too. One more slide, Tom. And lastly, number 1 on the slide is Hartford, Connecticut, just about 5% cap rate. Home values are over 300,000. What I'm trying to think. Oh, I think the reason what's driving here is that there's just nothing to sell. So if you want to buy something, there's nothing to buy, more so than many other places across the country. That's what's keeping prices almost artificially high. Next slide, Tom. I'm aware that many people here are from DMV and from Florida. We even talked about those. So let's look at Fairfax County. Fairfax County has lost people in 2022. They lost 12,000 people. They've lost people in 2023. We've lost 10,000 people. Our cap rate is in the 3s. Home values are close to 700,000, and we're slightly overvalued. And so I don't want to say you're risk averse here. Just so you know what you're getting into, but yeah, I suspect this is where a lot of you are playing. Next slide, Tom. And then let's go to Sarasota. Whereas Fairfax is losing people, Sarasota is just about doubling the people going in on a yearly basis. I would caution you that in this market here, it seems to be very overvalued, but prices are more reasonable, and you get a good cap rate of 6%. I'd let my local people on this presentation tell me otherwise. Next slide, Tom. Couple of things you may have noticed across these set of values is most of these homes were west of the states. The Mississippi is one line east, but the states west of the Mississippi is sort of where it stands, and everything to the east has got good prices, and everything to the west has got horrible prices based on affordability. It comes down to how much you have to work to be able to afford your home, and every one of those states shows you how many years income you've got to have for your house. Next slide, Tom. And this is the slide for value income, which is how much are you paying for your home compared to what's your average wage. And again, you notice that in the west half of the country, people are paying a lot more for their home than we are in the east, which means that a lot of I believe all 10 were east of this out in San Francisco. Next slide, Tom. I see the question. If you have a question, reach out to me after the meeting. I'll try to respond to you as best I can. A number of the slides showed places that were overvalued. A number of these were in the risk averse, but they were still overvalued because things are changing. So if you look back over the next couple of years, you're like, this doesn't make sense. That includes Knoxville, San Diego. A lot of these were in our overvalued site because growth is sort of changing the norms of what we had. Next slide, Tom. There were a couple of characters I tried to point out. Some of these towns, a lot of them have military bases or installations around them, which keeps a good supply of people coming in with money. A lot of these also have universities in the town, and that also is a healthy influx of people coming into the town with money to support the local market and the real estate market. I think that's it, Tom. Right. Yep. My contact info at the end. Thank you. And back to you, Tom and Carolina.
Awesome. Thanks, Claude. Oh, yeah. Nice to see what's happening. Now, I love the fact that things massively, they change, they flip, all sorts of topsy-turviness, right? Things that are charting one list one year start to cross over to not as nice lists another. And that's what happens when you've had crazy things like we've had these past 3 to 4 years now. And so that it's fascinating to watch, and it's awesome to be able to track it, which is one of the things we're always thankful to have Claude that keeps a real sharp, keen eye on things. People a lot of times say, Tom, how do you keep up on everything that's going on? Well, it's easy. I have Claude do all that hard work and analysis figured out, and then he gives me that awesome executive summary, which is why we've been providing that to you for more than a decade as well. I've had Claude, it's been more than a decade. You've been doing these awesome market reports for everybody. So I appreciate it, and I know everyone else does as well. So really, really cool. All right, now let's see. I think I saw Donna Bauer around here somewhere. Where'd she go? There she is. Well, hello, Donna. Gonna add you into the spotlight. Good to see you.
Good to see you, and good to see Carolina and everybody.
There she is.
Hi, Donna.
Yeah.
Hi, how are you? Good to see you.
So good to see you again. And I think you're coming at the right time because yeah, things are changing here, changing there, places, but notes are always fantastic. So I'm so happy that you agreed to come to Traction in November. So please,
very excited. It's a great time to
have so much to tell them, and there are a lot of people that either are not familiar at all, that they don't know how to make a transaction, and other ones that maybe a one or two, and ones that are experienced, but they might need more of your strategies. So excited to see you.
Wonderful. So do you want to make me co-host, and then I'll share my screen?
I think I already made you co-host. So yep,
I didn't even realize it. Okay.
I did it on the sly, just kind of, made it happen. Go ahead and share your screen, and I'll tell people why we're having you back, Donna. It's because a lot of people reach out to me and say, Tom, what can I do from anywhere? Or, I really like numbers, different things. I don't want to deal with the properties. I don't want to deal with the tenants. I don't want to deal with the rehabs. Is there something in real estate for me? I said, oh, I know just the person that you should talk to. I have other people going, well, how do I expand my business beyond what my capacities are? I mean, maybe they love rehabbing. They love landlording, but how do you do more? And how can you take advantage of the knowledge you already have, but leverage it in a way that isn't taking up more of your actual physical rehab time or physical landlording time? I said, oh, I know exactly where I want to send you. And that's why we're having you here, Donna.
Well, that's a great reason, Tom, because it is so true. I mean, I've been doing notes, I hate to admit it, but for 35 years. And, it's what's so cool is I've been through 3 or 4 downturns or changes, where things are going crazy. And that in every one of those, that's where I've made the most money. And we're in that place right now with interest rates as high as they are. When interest rates are high, that's when notes go crazy. And then the note sellers want to sell, and you need to create notes if you want to sell properties. So it's like all across the board, it is quite awesome. So I'm very, very glad to be here and present, because you couldn't have picked a better time.
Perfect storm is coming. So tell us all about it. I'm going to pass the baton to you. Carolina and I are going to mute off. And then if you need anything, let us know. But we're here for you. But guys, enjoy, because what Donna's teaching now is totally awesome.
Thank
Donna, I remember that you like people to hold questions until the end, right? Because you probably will answer them. So we're gonna ask you guys to just hold on your questions, and then at the very end, we'll ask you to either put on the chat or mute. But for now, let's concentrate on Donna. Please don't start a whole new conversation on the chat. Don't tell us all your thoughts and comments. Just keep your eyes focused on Donna because she has so much. And then if you have a question, then we'll take care of it at the end. They're all yours, Donna.
Okay, well, thank you. So as I said, the time for doing notes is right now. And by right now, I mean now. And you know why I know it's so perfect? I have a brand new 17-year-old student who just got his first note under contract yesterday, and he's probably going to get a second note under contract tomorrow. Now, can you imagine that? I mean, if a 17-year-old young man can do this, and he like just hit the ground running, I know every one of you can do it as well. And that is why I am so excited to share with you. The market is perfect for doing notes. And as I mentioned before, whenever interest rates go up, that's when seller financing skyrockets, because in order for people to sell their houses, I mean, you can't go get a bank loan anymore. A lot of people cannot afford the high interest rates. So if a person wants to sell their house, they're kind of forced to carry back a note. But they don't really want to hold that note. They really want cash. And so that creates an amazing opportunity for you, because you can cash them out. And it doesn't have to be your cash. It could be my cash. It could be Tom's cash. It could be any investor's cash. It could be anyone, but it's because you know how to do it that you'll be able to put cash in your pocket. So now is the perfect time to do notes. It's the perfect time for flipping notes for quick cash, which I find that's what most people like to do, because everybody's looking for some quick money. Well, you couldn't have picked a better time to flip notes. It's also, though, a really good time to invest in notes, because with all the crazy things going on in the market, the thing is that the notes are secured by real estate. And I'm going to show you how you can tailor make a loan to value that you're comfortable with. With notes, you can create equity to make the deal safer, make it as safe as you want. So it's also a good time to start looking at the non-performing notes, because the foreclosures are starting to peak up to where they were before COVID. And as Tom mentioned, they're going to keep coming. So what I always recommend to students is start out with the performing notes, because that market is crazy wild right now. And it allows you to familiarize yourself with the verbiage and how they work and everything, and then consider moving into the non-performing notes whenever you feel the time is right. The thing about notes is that they allow you to control the property without owning it. So you have the security of the real estate, but you don't get any of the headaches. That's the thing. And they give you tremendous flexibility. So to me, like, I would much rather own the note than the property. You know, normally I tell people it's a good idea to kind of have a balanced portfolio, because notes allow you to have great flexibility, and I can get a lot higher rate of return on a note than I can on a property. But at the same time, the properties give you appreciation, they give you some tax write-offs. So you have to decide for yourself what your balance is going to be. But I promise you, you'll want to have a good portion of them in notes, because they are safe, because you can get great returns, and they are so much easier to do than owning the actual real estate. So tonight I want to focus on, first of all, how you can make some quick cash. I want to show you how you can build wealth with notes. It is amazing how quickly, like, you could build your self-directed IRA all through using notes. There's some very, very cool things that you can do there. So if you are up in years and you haven't really got your self-directed IRA going, start doing it with notes. You can catch up really quick. Okay. Or if you've lost some money, whatever the case, if you need to build your IRA, I strongly recommend that you consider using notes to do that. And then lastly, I am going to share a little bit about how to acquire properties really cheap. And of course, that's by buying a non-performing note that is in default. And then you can either negotiate to get the deed in lieu of foreclosing, or you can actually foreclose and take the property. So if you are looking to build a portfolio of real estate, one of the best ways to do that is by buying the defaulted note. So we'll talk about that at the end. But with all of these, we're going to be talking about both non-performing and performing. Now, you might wonder, why in the world would you want to buy a non-performing note? Like I just said, you're going to use it as leverage to get the property. So understand that, because when you hold a note and it's secured by a property, that gives you the leverage to do some negotiations. Now, which one should you start with? It really depends on your personal goals. And it also depends on your experience. What kind of shocks me is the number of people, I'm talking about like back in the 2008 fiasco, there were people jumping in and buying pools of non-performing notes, and they had never even owned one note. I'm going, are you crazy? Why would you buy a whole lot of them when you've never even bought one before? And so personally, I recommend that you start with the performing. And I also think if you're going to do the non-performing, it would be a good idea to have some real estate experience. With the non-performing, typically you can get larger profits, but they take a lot more time. Both hands-on working on it as well as calendar time. And generally speaking, they're a much greater risk, primarily because you don't know what's going to happen. You might plan on keeping the homeowner in the property and doing workouts on every note. And you buy the note, you go knock on the door, and they're long gone. Now you've got a vacant property to deal with. So there are a lot of different exit strategies, and you can't always be sure which way you're headed. So you have to be prepared for the unknown when you're working with the non-performing notes. And although I have done way more than my share of non-performing notes, back in the early 2000s, I really focused on the non-performing. But needless to say, my favorite thing is working with performing notes, people who are paying on time. Now, with the performing notes, that's typically going to be a private note, a seller carryback, which I'll show you in detail exactly what that is. But you can still get great profits with the performing notes, and they take very little time. And if you follow my methods for doing this, they really are risk-free. So with that, I think you're really going to love starting out with the performing notes. Now, why would you prefer notes over property? Well, first of all, you never own the property. So that means no tenants, no trash, no toilets, and no bed bugs. Do you know that when my kids were little, I used to say, good night, sleep tight, don't let the bed bugs bite. I didn't know they were real. I had no idea there was such a thing as bed bugs until I had a rental property that was just taken over by them. Then I felt bad for what I said to the kids. But with notes, you don't have to deal with that. And you don't have to deal with the rehabs, no building orders. You don't have carrying costs. And best of all, you get full-time efforts, and it's basically part-time efforts. You get full-time profits for part-time efforts. So you're going to find that you'll make amazing rates of return. And what most people really love is you don't even need your own cash or credit to start. Now, I want you to think about that. because a lot of people tell me after I get all done with the presentation, they'll say, well, I'm going to start doing notes after I get some money together so I can buy them. No, that's not the way to do it. If you don't have any money, start with notes, because it's a lot easier to flip a note for quick cash than it is to flip a house. I'm going to show you, so stick with me here. But all of these things, when you look at all the benefits, it ultimately gives you the time and the money to live your vision. You know, there's lots of things that give you the money to live your vision, but they take up all your time. With notes, you get the best of both worlds. So that's pretty awesome. You know, when I started out, I was babysitting literally for $1 an hour. And I was babysitting 5 kids besides my own 4. So I was making $5 an hour. And I'm not kidding you. I would lie in bed at night and I'd say, Lord, please show me the pot at the end of the rainbow. Well, he did. Wrong pot, but it shows that you need to be careful how you pray. But honestly, he did show me the pot at the end of the rainbow. And that was to do notes. And that's why I'm here tonight. They have been a huge blessing for me and my family, and they will be a huge blessing for you as well. So without further ado, I want to share with you the all-time fastest, easiest, safest way to make money in real estate is to flip a note. And you can flip either a performing note where they are paying on time, or you can even flip a non-performing note. You can typically flip a note and make $10,000 in just 30 to 60 days. It really is that easy. And again, you don't need your own cash or credit. So are you ready to learn how you can flip a note for quick cash? Before I show you the exact example, I want to make sure we understand the terminology. A note is a promise to pay a debt. It says, I owe you this much money. I will pay you this much a month, this much interest. It contains all the terms of the loan. A mortgage is what provides security or collateral for the lender. So if the borrower doesn't pay, it is the mortgage that allows the lender to take the property. Now, you might live in a deed of trust state. A deed of trust acts just like a mortgage. It provides security for the note. One great advantage to a deed of trust, though, is it takes a lot less time if you have to foreclose. But for the principles of this presentation, know when I talk about a mortgage, I'm referring also to a deed of trust if you happen to be buying those. Okay, so what you want to know is that the note and the mortgage work hand in hand. You wouldn't want to buy a note if you didn't have a mortgage with it. You don't want to buy an unsecured note. That would be risky. And what good would a mortgage be if you don't have a promise to pay? So regardless of the semantics, some people refer to one or the other. The truth is, if you buy one, you're going to want to have both. Okay. So let me show you my Sam and Bill example. This is when I first started out, believe it or not, I actually did make little stick figures, Sam and Bill, making sure that I could figure out who did what to who and how it all shook out. So this is a great example if you're just learning that you can go back to this and get a good understanding of how it works. So let's say that you have Sam Seller and he owns his own house free and clear. And let's say it's worth $600,000. He puts it on the market and he gets a couple of people that sign contracts, but they can't get a loan. And now he's dealing with people that don't even show up. You know, he just doesn't get that many lookers. So one of his friends says, look, you should offer seller carryback financing. Put an ad on social media and tell them that they don't need to go get a bank loan, that you will be the bank. So he does this. And immediately, Bill Buyer calls him up. And he goes over, he looks at the house, he is all excited, and he says, Sam, He said, I can give you $150,000 as a down payment, and I'll pay you $4,000 a month and 10% interest. And in 10 years, I'll refinance and pay you whatever I owe you. Does that sound like a good deal to you? 10% interest? And he's given $150,000 down on a $600,000 house. So needless to say, Sam was thrilled. So they strike a deal. Sam sells the $600,000 house to Bill. In exchange, Bill gives Sam $150,000 in cash plus a $450,000 mortgage. So do you think this was a good deal for Sam? Let's take a look. First of all, Sam got a really, really quick sale of his property. So that's huge. He's getting a 10% interest rate on his investment. He's got tax benefits from an installment sale. And he's got a nice, safe investment. So needless to say, Sam was quite happy. So let's say that now 2 years go by and the $450,000 mortgage is paid down to just over $443,000. Well, what happens if Sam gets tired of waiting? He got really tired here. I think when you're waiting for somebody to pay you, sometimes it does feel like that, doesn't it? Well, with notes, there's a way out of it. You don't have to feel like that. So let's say that Sam needs $375,000. Well, it just so happens that Sam received a letter from Donna Dealer here. And this letter says, Dear Sam, I understand that you're receiving payments on a mortgage. I pay cash for mortgages. If you would like cash today, instead of waiting for these slow monthly payments, give me a call and I'll tell you how much I can give you for your mortgage. So Sam calls me up and he tells me the whole scenario, and it sounds like a great deal to me. So we strike a deal, and Sam sells the note and mortgage with a $443,000 balance. He sells those payments to me. And in exchange, I give Sam $375,000 in cash. So he takes the money and runs. He never looks back. He never has anything to do with this note or this property again. He is thrilled. Now, does Bill borrower's position change? No, it can't change because that note is a contract. The only thing that changes is that Bill is going to make his payments to me. That's the only thing that changes. So it doesn't matter to him whether I buy the note or not. So if we look at this, do you think it was a good idea for Sam to sell the note to me? If you look at what he received, he got a $150,000 down payment. He's collected $96,000 over the last 2 years. And now I just gave him $375,000. That's $621,000. How much was he selling the house for? $600,000. So needless to say, he is thrilled. And you know, it's not always the amount of money that he gets. What really drives these deals home is getting the cash when he wants it. Once he decided that he needed $375,000 for whatever reason, that's why he wanted to sell the note. It's real funny because I was talking with this is a real deal just today, and I was talking to a lady, and she said, and we had given her an offer yesterday, and she didn't take it. And she called back and she said, my husband and I are in our 70s, and we've decided to accept your offer. They were getting older. They didn't want to deal with it. They didn't want to pass it on to their kids. It was their time to sell the note. So she very gladly accepted our offer. So this was the same with Sam. When they're ready to sell, then a lot of times the price is immaterial. They just want to get the best they can and move on. So needless to say, Sam was very, very happy. Now, let's see if I'm happy. Would you be happy to be in my shoes? If you look at what I got, do you see that I bought a $443,000 asset for $375,000? And that is $68,000 profit. My net worth just went up by $68,000. And that works out that I'm going to make a 13.25% return on my money. But that doesn't make any sense, does it? Because we said that Bill is paying 10%, and we said his position doesn't change. So how in the heck am I making 13.25? This is the really cool thing about notes. Notes have two profit centers. There is whatever interest, like in this case, the 10% interest that Bill is paying, but there's also the discount that you negotiate. So I didn't pay $443,000. I only paid $375,000. And because I paid less for it, that's going to make my rate of return go up. So an important thing that you want to write down is the less that you pay for a discounted mortgage, the higher your rate of return. And that discount is the driving force behind all the creative deals that we put together. It is because of that discount that we can do amazing things and create win-win situations with everyone that's involved. So I'll show you some of that as we go through. So going back to where we are here, if I had my own money to invest in this, I would be getting a 13.25% return on my money. However, what if you don't have your own cash? Then what are you going to do? I told you didn't need cash or credit to get started. Well, if you don't have any money to buy the note, you just flip it. Okay. And again, this works for both the performing notes as well as the non-performing. Now you might be thinking, well, flip the note. That sounds great, but where in the heck am I going to get $375,000 to buy it to begin with? You are going to get that from Irene Investor. Now, this next slide that I am going to share with you is the most important slide of my presentation, because this is the secret of how you make money buying and selling the seller carryback notes. All you need to do is find an investor who wants a lower rate of return than what your buy rate is. That buy rate is that 13.25%. It's the rate of return that you negotiated. Okay, if you sign a contract with Sam that you're going to buy this note for $375,000, and we said that would give you a 13.25% return if you had your own money, but you don't have your own money. So let's say that you were networking with some fellow Traction members, and you were talking to a lady, Irene Investor, and she is so burnt out on rental properties. She said, if I could get an 11 or 12%, I would start doing notes now. Well, if she wants an 11.5% return, is that less than 13.25? It sure is. And if she wants an 11.5% rate of return, that means she would pay $410,000 for this note. Buy low, sell high, and you put $35,000 in your pocket. That is your profit from flipping the note. How many people like that idea? Isn't that pretty cool? And you never even own the property. Okay, so that's what's so neat, that you can do all of this and you're strictly dealing with the paper. That's it. Now, where did I get the money to give to Sam Seller? Like I said, from Irene Investor. Now, there's two different ways that you can do this. The first is a simultaneous close. That is where you close two transactions at the same time, and you use the proceeds from the second transaction to actually fund the first one. It looks like this. Let's say Irene Investor wires her $410,000 into the title company. Your title agent is going to set up 2 closings. The first closing would be Sam selling the note to you for $375,000. The second closing is you selling the note to Irene for $410,000. And you know what happens? Your title agent is putting this all together and she says, wow, Donna's going to make $410,000 when she sells this note. And lo and behold, it's already sitting in our escrow account. So if she's sitting on $410,000 already that she knows is about to become yours, does she need to call you up and say, hey, Donna, I need you to wire $375,000? No. What they do is they take $375,000 of Irene's money and they use it to close on the first leg of the transaction. So now you are the proud owner of this note. And the note that you just bought with Irene's money, you're now going to turn around and sell to her for $410,000 and you make $35,000 profit. Isn't that awesome? I got to tell you that I had an attorney actually teach me this business. And when he told me to go set up a simultaneous close like this, I was scared to death to do it because I thought that the title companies would think that I'm some kind of a con artist or something. And then I realized this is done all the time. Big banks do it, investors do it, hedge funds do it. I mean, it is a common transaction, okay? And what's great about it is that when you have 2 separate closings, no one knows how much money you make, only your title agent. Because unless you get both settlement statements side by side, they don't know, they can't calculate what your actual profit was. So if you're doing a super big deal where you've got a lot of profit, or for whatever reason, you don't want one party to know what your profit is, I would recommend the simultaneous close. But I have found for me, more and more, the majority of my notes, I'm buying with an assignment of contract. And the reason for that is many times my students are my investors and I'm completely upfront. When I have a student and I'm doing a deal with them, I disclose everything. They see the settlement statements, the title, the insurance, they see everything I'm doing. And so since they already know, and with an assignment of contract, it's only one closing, so it's less expensive and it's easier. So the way the assignment of contract works is that you have this under contract where Sam is going to sell you the note for $375,000. You simply sell your contract to Irene. So she writes you a check for $35,000 and then she steps into your position and she buys the note from Sam for $375,000. So this is a great way to do it, like I said, as long as you don't mind, because if she's writing you a check for $35,000, she knows now how much profit you made on the deal. But as long as that's not an issue for you, this is a very simple way to flip a note to an investor. Okay, so I have just showed you 2 different ways that you can profit from doing notes. If you have your own cash, then you want to be Irene Investor. And you're doing this to buy and hold. You use your own money and you're doing this because you want a nice, safe, high-yielding investment. Okay. On the other hand, if you don't have cash available, your cash could be all invested, or maybe you just plain don't have any extra cash, then you want to start out just like I did and be Donna Dealer. With Donna Dealer, you're going to flip the note so that you can make some quick cash. You're going to use other people's money, and when you flip the note, you'll make a nice lump sum of cash. Now, the interesting thing is I started out as Donna Dealer, but now I'm still Donna Dealer. I flip back and forth. If I have my own cash available and that looks like the type of note that I want to hold, then I'm going to be Irene Investor. On the other hand, if it's not what I want, or if I don't have cash available at that time, why pass up a great deal? In that case, I simply flip it to a private investor. So, but the thing that I really want you to see is that you're going to start out as Donna Dealer. If you don't have cash available, you can start out as Donna Dealer, and then your ultimate goal is to become Irene Investor. So you make, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't put that over. You might make 35,000 on this deal and 10,000 over here, and here you go, 395,000 on a deal. Well, it doesn't take long before you have enough cash where you can be Irene or Ivan Investor. Now, this is Phil from Fort Collins, Colorado. And on his very first deal, he made profit over $395,000. He found a commercial note and he could buy it for $2,000. He did not have did I say 2,000? $2 million. And he didn't have $2 million. So he found an institutional buyer that bought the note for $2,395,700. And so look at that profit on that. And there is a little moral to that story. The larger the note, typically the larger the profit. But do you see that you can start out with little or nothing and be flipping notes, and as you go, you start investing in them, and then that'll grow. And I've got lots of creative things. In fact, I'm going to share one of those with you where you can really put a lump sum of cash. Besides just flipping for $10,000 or something, I'm going to show you how you can keep the tail end of the note and put a huge lump sum of cash, say in your IRA. That's what we're going to talk about next. So this is how you build wealth quickly from scratch. I call this my arbitrage, okay? An arbitrage is where you take the price differential from two markets. So we are going to buy a note from a note seller, which is one market, and then we are going to sell it on the secondary market. And what happens is it's very easy to raise the price on the secondary market, and because you bought it at a huge discount on the retail market. And because that's the way notes are. That is the way the market goes. And so that price differential is what allows you to flip a note without any of your own cash invested and make a great profit. So let's look at this. So what we're going to do here is make some cash now and also some future cash. So let's say that you find this note and there's a balance of 71,000 and it's written with 180 payments, and you get it under contract that you can buy that note for $46,000. Okay. So you call up an institution or you call up me, and this actually was a real deal that one of my students did many years ago. I had taught this in one of my academies, and he just made up his mind he was going to do it. And he found a lady that was moving overseas, and she was divesting of all her real estate. So she sold this property and created this note. And he calls me up. He says, Donna, I got this under contract. Do you have a buyer? So I called an institutional buyer, and because it was a brand new note, they didn't want to buy the entire note, but they said they'd buy 100 payments for $50,000. Do you see what just happened there? He has this under contract to buy for $46,000. I get an offer to buy only 100 of the 180 payments for $50,000. So we've got $4,000 profit up front, but more importantly, what happens to those last 80 payments? Those are going to go to him because he's buying the entire note but he's only selling part of it. So he's going to make $45,000 on the tail end of that deal. Now, honestly, he did this deal in a self-directed IRA. He didn't do this out on his own. Now, theoretically, the IRA could do it without any cash, but IRS requires that your IRA must show consideration. So you want to take $100 or whatever you can take out of your IRA and put it as earnest money. And I generally do not give note sellers earnest money. I only do that to make when I'm buying a note and putting it in my IRA. If I need to show consideration for it, I give it as earnest money because it's an easy way to do it. So at any rate, then you can have your IRA buy the note, the entire note for $46,000. Your IRA will sell the first 100 payments, and your IRA keeps the last 80 payments. So you're going to be putting $45,000 in your self-directed IRA, and it is not even a contribution. It's profit from a deal. Isn't that awesome? So this is one of the creative strategies that I wanted to tell you about. So instead of just making $5,000 or $10,000 or $35,000 or whatever, flipping a note, you can make a large amount of money by doing something like this. And everything that I'm sharing with you tonight can all be done in a self-directed IRA. Okay, you can start with as little as $100 and then do any of these deals in your IRA and just let the profits flow right into your IRA. And hopefully you've got a Roth IRA where those profits will grow tax-free. And you can use those profits then to reinvest buying more notes. Truly, I don't know of a faster, easier, safer way to grow your IRA. This is what I've done with my own. I know have many students who have done the same thing, and it's just an awesome way to build your IRA very quickly. Okay, do we have any questions in the chat, Carolina? Or do you want to still wait until the end? Is it better to wait until the very end?
Let's see, Donna. I don't have any questions in the chat, but are you gonna be moving to the non-performing ones or?
No, I'm
going
to share a little bit more, and then we'll get into the non-performing. Okay.
Okay. I think we are good. Thank you, Donna.
Okay. Okay. So, how do you grow your money quickly and safely? This is one of my favorite deals. This is a real deal. It was done. And the interesting thing is, Rick, my student, brought it to me, and Rick lives in Michigan. I live in Ohio, and Miss Annie lived in Dallas, Texas. And he had sent out his letters to her, and she was just the epitome of a really great real estate investor. She had started years before when it wasn't popular for women to be in real estate, and she bought rental properties. Then when she got up in years, she decided she didn't want to be a landlord, so she sold her rental properties and carried back a note. And she had sold most of her notes, but she was very ill and knew she didn't have long to live. And she had this last note, and she didn't want her daughters to have to deal with it. So she called up Rick. And she said, I've made a boatload of money off of this property. If I can get $80,000 for this note, we got a deal. So we offered her $80,475. That works out to be a 25% return. That means without doing any advanced strategies or creative stuff, just if you had $80,000 that you could invest, you'd be making 25% just to sit back and collect those payments. And the thing is that when you are doing your own marketing and not buying from a middle person, it's not unusual to get a 25 or 30% return. Because like Miss Annie, if the person wants to sell quickly, then yield doesn't make any difference to them. Or price doesn't make difference to them. They just want to get out of it. And that was the case with Miss Annie. So I called one of my students who lived in Texas. I knew he lived in Texas. I didn't know that he lived a half hour away from the property. I call that a God thing. I mean, what's the chance in the whole state of Texas that I'd call an investor that lived half an hour away from the property? So he jumped on it right away. And actually, I was wanting to sell it for 100,000. It was absolutely worth 100,000, but he offered 95, and we knew that Miss Annie really was in a hurry. And so Rick and I talked about it, and we decided it was better just to go with him because he could close right away. So we sold it to him for 95,000, which was a 17% return to him. And Rick and I made a gross profit of 14,525. That should have been almost 20,000, but we were happy with what we made, and we had to take out the cost of the title in the closing. So we each wound up with about $6,500. But this is the really cool thing. So I always like to introduce my borrower to the new lender, the investor who buys the note, so that they know who each other is. So I get Ivan on the phone with the wife the night before the closing, and he says to her, "How is your credit?" And she says, "Well, my husband had a heart attack a couple years ago. We still have a lot of medical bills we're paying off." And he said, "If I could help you to refinance, would you want to do that?" Well, back at that time was when interest rates were really low, so that was a great thing to do. She said, yes, she would. So 3 months later, I get an email from Ivan, and he wants to know if I have another note that he can invest in. He had helped the borrower to refinance, and 3 months later, he gets a $117,000 payoff. That's a 96% return, because not only did he get the payoff, he got 3 months of, I think the payments were about 2,000 or something. I can't remember for sure. But can you imagine that? And the reason that works is because of the discount. I mean, it was about a $120,000 note that we had bought for $80,000. And it's that discount that allows us all to make a lot of money on it. So keep in mind, I would write this down: when your discounted note pays off early, your rate of return skyrockets. And if you use this very simple strategy, you can build a significant retirement just by doing one note a year. I actually did a little pro forma, seeing how that would work. And it really does work. So keep that in mind, that just by getting an early payoff, it will give you a lump sum of cash. So you can make money flipping the note, keep the tail end, then when it pays off, you get another lump sum of cash, which is usually more than what you got when you flipped it. And so that's what allows you to make really high rates of return with the notes, and also to grow your IRA very, very quickly. What I like about it is, the way I see it is, if you flip the entire note, then you're giving away the lion's share of the profit, because whenever that pays off, whatever discount you negotiated, a big portion of it goes to your investor. So any time that you can keep that for yourself, that's always a good thing. So what you want to do, what I do, if I know, like when I'm doing my borrower's call and they tell me, well, yeah, we're real happy here, but we plan on moving to California next summer. Aha, I know they're going to sell this house. So those are the notes that I keep for myself, because then there'll be an early payoff, and then I can collect on that discount. So that's kind of what I do. But overall, flipping a note is absolutely the easiest way to make money. Typically, it takes about 20 hours to flip a note. And on average, because I like doing the smaller deals, on average, typically I make $6,000 to $12,000 on a deal. And for 20 hours of work to make that much cash and never own the property risk-free, because I'm not going to close on buying the note until I've got it sold, because I'm going to do my simultaneous close or my assignment of contract. So it really is risk-free. I have no money invested in it. I can do it very quickly with no headaches. And that's why flipping notes is one of my favorite things to do. Okay, I want to share with you about the Saturday workshop. I heard Carolina mention it before I started talking. Tonight, I'm showing you some of the cool things that you can do with notes, but on Saturday, I'm going to show you how to do it. The big thing is, where do you find the notes? And so I'm going to go into detail on my favorite ways, my students' favorite ways to find notes. I'm going to show you how to evaluate a note so you know if it's one you would want to buy or not. And we'll cover the whole process of flipping a seller carryback, as well as some other things. So if you are intrigued about how to do notes, you absolutely don't want to miss Saturday's workshop. I am going to be teaching for 4 hours from 9 to 1 Eastern time. And you need to give Tom and Carolina a big thanks. They're only charging $29 for it. What a steal. That is really great of you guys. I mean, because I see what everybody else charges, and it's a lot more. So that's really awesome. But I'm going to add to it, and I'm going to say that if anybody buys my home study course tonight, that I'll pay the $29. Okay, you can come free. So keep that in mind. It's this Saturday from 9 to 1. I promise you, if you have any interest in notes, it will open your eyes to truly see how easy it is. Like I said, tonight I'm just sharing some deals and showing you some things you can do. But on Saturday, you'll get the how-to. So, okay, so I think at this point, I want to get into the non-performing notes. Do you guys want to hear about non-performing notes?
Yes. Donna, sorry that I interrupt you, but there were a few questions, and also, so I have a few general questions from some of our attendees, and I also have attendees that they just want your system. Now it's like, where do I get this? How do I sign up with Donna? So is it okay to us to answer a few questions, and then if you share how they can get your system, is that okay?
I would be happy to do that. That's a great idea.
Okay. So the questions that I had was, do you need a license to do this?
That is a great question. As long as you do it the way I teach you, you do not need a license. You need a license to, quote, broker notes. And it really bothers me when I hear people say, I'm going to teach you how to broker notes. Well, I sure hope not, because in those courses, I've never seen them mention first go out and get a broker's license. If you are going to broker notes, you need a license. I do not broker notes. Notice I call myself Donna Dealer. That is because I am a principal in the transaction. Even if I only own that note for 30 seconds, that note, I am going to buy the note or my IRA, and then I or my IRA is going to sell the note. And the way you accomplish that is by using either the simultaneous close or the assignment of contract. So as long as you set up your transactions like that, you are considered a principal in the transaction, and you do not need a license. But if you ever hear somebody say, hey, you can be a broker, you don't want to be a broker. You absolutely don't let anybody call you a broker, because then you do need to have a license.
Awesome. Okay. The other question was, how do you collect on the note without a debt collector's license? Okay, so if I'm buying a non-performing note, that is a completely different animal. I'm going to take that back. I think I understand what the question is now. It varies from state to state
on collecting the payments. If I am going to collect the payments outside my IRA, I am going to use a servicer. Okay. And honestly, in most states that I have dealt with, they usually require a servicer. If I am doing it inside my IRA where I am not personally collecting payments, my IRA is licensed to collect payments. That is what they're set up to do. So I do not use a servicer then if the payments are going in my IRA. But the way that I set up my business is when I'm flipping a note just to make some quick money that I'm going to live off of, I do that through my LLC, okay? And I pay ordinary income tax on it. But if I am going to hold a note, I always do that inside my IRA, so then I don't need a servicer. But if you have cash outside of your IRA that you're wanting to invest in notes, and you want the payments to come to you, I would use a servicer.
Awesome. Okay. Let me just check on time because it's almost 8:30. So how about you just share with us? Because I know by sharing how your system works, a lot of the questions will be asked because they're asking, how do we find these notes? How do we find these sellers? Like, don't worry, I have the answer. So
Okay.
let's share your system and then tell people how they can get it and then how we'll help them get all those notes.
Okay, had to do some switching around there, but we got it. Okay, so I have a very comprehensive system on all facets of note buying. This was my first manual, which expounded over the years. But this is the manual that will teach you how to flip notes. It teaches you a lot of other things like how to hold your notes in trusts and things like that. But if you want to flip notes, that's a great resource for you. Then if you are wanting to use notes to buy and sell real estate, it's really important that you understand how to create a note that is valuable to sell later, because all notes are not created equal. And this smart seller financing will teach you how to do exactly that. You can also use it like if you're wanting to buy properties with no money down. So if you are an active real estate buyer, you probably would want to start with this green manual. Then I have my Making Dollars and Cents with a Financial Calculator, which is a great, it is a very step-by-step, easy way to understand a financial calculator. And then I have my media sets, which are from my live academies. And you get the video, the audio, and a downloadable class manual. All of these are virtual, okay? You also get my library of forms. And honestly, that is invaluable. It's really everything that you need for your note deals, both the non-performing and the performing notes. And I have them in Word doc templates, so they're easy for you to use. And I did update this recently. So you can get all of these. I call these, sorry here. Oh, this is just another quick start guide. Sorry about that. You will get all of those in electronic format, so you can download all of them. I call those my legacy manuals because I got something that is the coolest thing that I have ever put together, and that is an online Note Buyers Academy. I just came out with this just this past year, and what it is, I realized that when people were using all of these manuals, you would have like role playing. It might be in any one of the academies. It could be in the first book. It could be in the third book, and it's like, wow, where do we go? There was so much, it was almost overwhelming. So what I did was I very carefully curated all of my materials, all of the videos, and I put it all on an educational platform online. I also created a whole lot of new materials. And so you have all of the classes very much step by step. If you are wanting to learn all about notes in the most sufficient or the succinct, easy to follow manner, then the online academy is the way to do it, because you could go through each class, and depending on how much time you spent on it, let's say it might take you a month, but if you go through each class, you will have a great handle on the entire, the main ideas of note buying. And then if you want to focus in, let's say you decide that you want to do the smart seller financing, you can always go back and access any of the legacy materials. So people have been using it and they totally, totally love it. So you are going to get all of that. Plus you are going to get 6 months of coaching. And I'm not going to start the 6th month until the 1st of January, because we're entering into the holidays and you're probably not going to do much over the next, through the end of the year. So I'll start the 6 months of coaching in January. What is the coaching? I've never seen anybody else do this, but I've been doing this for over 30 years. What I do is I teach you how to market for notes. Maybe you decide you want to do direct mail. So you send out your letters. When you get a call, you fill out my submission form and send it to me. When I get that submission form, that's when the coaching starts. The 6 months starts January 1, but my working with you, I can't work with you until you send me a deal, okay? So you send the submission form to me. I do a complete evaluation of it. I show you what's what on it. I do all of the numbers and I write out the quote. I'm doing everything for you. I send it to you so then you can review it all. We can talk on the phone and go over it. It is absolutely the best way to learn how to do notes. When you know you're going to make $5,000 on a deal, you pay attention a lot more than if you're just studying something. So what we do is then we get it under contract. Basically, you're the liaison with the note seller. And then I am going to do all of setting up the closing, getting the appraisal, the title. We will use my investors. So you don't even need to have your own cash. You don't need to have investors. When we close, we split the net profit 50-50. So it's an awesome way to learn. And I give you 8 months now so that you have plenty of time to go out and find a deal, get it submitted, and we can work together and both make some money on it. And you're learning at the same time. Additionally, if you close a deal, a note flip, and this is a seller carryback performing note, if we flip a deal together within 6 months, I am going to give you $1,000 of your purchase price back. And that is only, this is not something that I just give out ordinarily. You will not find this on my website. This is only for this event, okay? It's a special thing that I want to do for Traction RIA. So you can get all of this for only 2 payments of $748.50. Or you can save $200 and you can just do 1 payment of $12.97. So that's going to give you all of my legacy materials. That's all online. It's going to give you access to my new online academy, which is where I recommend you start. So you can go right through everything. And I recorded like little 3-minute videos on each class so you can hear exactly what we're going to learn. So maybe you listen to that and you go, oh, I'm not ready for that yet. I want to go on to this. So it's real easy to go through. It has even quizzes after each test, and it has everything all organized, your documents together. It has the transcripts from the class. So it does make it really, really easy. And like I said, then you get the coaching as well. So if you are interested in taking advantage of that, you can do it by going here online. But also, I want to throw in something that I had not planned on throwing in. And not to confuse this with Saturday's workshop that I already told you about. This Saturday is extremely important for you to go to because I'm going to be teaching you the fundamentals, exactly how to do the note buying. But I have another workshop that I am doing just for my students, and that will be December 2nd. And it is completely different. It is an advanced workshop, and it is on how to legally do partial purchases of notes. And that workshop is $397 to attend. It's from 9 to 3 on Saturday, December 2nd. If you buy tonight or by Saturday, then I'll also, in addition to everything here, I'll also give you free admission to that workshop because I know you would love it and I don't want to see you go without it. But that's
why don't is it Christmas already that you're giving us all of this? I love it. I love it. So wait, if people go directly to your website, the price for this same system is a lot more. I think it's 24, right? But you're giving Traction a sweet deal. So is the one payment will be $12.97 and you get all of this. Plus you get this Saturday on you. And don't worry, people, if you're already registered for Saturday, don't worry. We'll just apply the $29 that you already paid. So you're not only giving them the system this Saturday and then the super special Saturday, December 2nd. So, man, this is a really great deal. And first of all, thank you, Donna, because I love that you love us so much that you're gonna give us extra love.
You are
fantastic.
Very welcome. And so it is the retail price is $2,497 plus the $397 for the extra workshop. So this really is a major saving. Plus, you won't find the $1,000 rebate anywhere. Plus, I added on the 2 months of coaching besides the 6 months. So I really tried. I will tell you, Carolina, I so love coming to Traction. And your people are awesome. You just have a great group. And so I got this idea and I thought, I'm going to do something extra special. I'm going to throw in that workshap. So that's what I did.
Awesome, Donna. I knew we were special, but you made us even more special. And I remember the last event that you did for us, one of our Traction members turned unmuted and said, Donna, I want to thank you because I took your class and then I did all these deals. And I didn't even know she was on the call. So it works. Yes. It's just fantastic. And there's a reason we ask you to come back. So, okay. So I put the links on the chat. So attendees can go directly to get the system and get all the bonuses. Again, if you purchase tonight, you get this Saturday included, and you get the December 2nd special advanced training with Donna as well. So very sweet. There's a few people with other questions, but if maybe matter of time, how about if we continue the second part of your presentation and then we'll take the rest of the questions at the end? Will that be okay?
Sounds great. I just need a second to change this around.
Okay, so check your chat, everybody. Links are right there. If you have any particular questions about a payment or something, that you can just send me a message directly and we'll make it work. If this is what you want, we will make it work, okay?
Okay, that sounds like a plan. So as I mentioned, the non-performing notes, there hasn't been a lot of activity. There are always non-performing notes, don't get me wrong, but we are now starting to see them on the rise. And so the foreclosures. So we're going to see more and more of them. They're right at the point where it's getting to be what it was before COVID. Now, what you need to know about the non-performing notes is the large banks do not sell non-performing notes to individuals. They're going to pool those and sell them to hedge funds and things like that. But the smaller banks, community banks, credit unions, those are the institutions that will be happy to sell you their non-performing notes. I have a very good friend who, that's all she does is non-performing notes. And the way that she gets her transactions, I am not kidding you, she simply sits on the phone and she calls up, she finds out who like the vice president of non-performing notes is, or she'll go online and find out who the asset manager is. And she calls those individuals and she says, I'm a private investor. Do you have any non-performing notes you want to get off your books? And that is how she gets all of her transactions. It's nothing fancy. It's just a matter of sitting down and doing it. So I mentioned that you can flip a non-performing note just like you can a seller carryback. So what you would do, we're talking about buying a defaulted note from the bank and then wholesaling it to an investor to make a quick $10,000 and you never even own the property. I say 10,000, it could be anything. But my point is you are wholesaling it because it is the investor who is going to work that non-performing note and they will get the lion's share of the profit. But you should get a nice referral fee or a wholesale fee because you found the note. The other thing that you can do instead of just a straight flip is that you can modify the note before you sell it. And a lot of times it can easily double your profit. Now, before we go any farther, I need to clarify that. You cannot modify a note that you don't own yet, okay? But there is a way to work it out. I do cover that in my non-performing sections of my academy, which you'll have access to when you get my materials. You have to use a special escrow agreement and you have to follow that process because you cannot legally modify a note that you don't own. But I show you how to do it. And if you do that before you sell, wholesale it to an investor, it makes the note more valuable because then the investor knows, oh, we've extended the note. We know exactly how many payments are owed. You know, you've already worked an agreement out with the borrower. Now, if you are looking for monthly cash flow, what you can do is you've got this note. Most likely the bank has already started a foreclosure. So you could use what we call a forbearance agreement. And that simply says, we'll stop the foreclosure. And then what we do, it's usually a forbearance and a modification agreement. And so you're going to keep the homeowner in the house. You stop the foreclosure and you modify the note on terms that they can afford. What happens many times is that the investor will get behind and they can't catch up. But if they could just keep making their monthly payments, they would be okay with that. It's like if they temporarily lost their job, now they're back to work and they have $20,000 that they're behind on, they can't come up with that $20,000. So you might do a modification and you could tack that onto the end of the note. You could create a balloon with it. You could re-amortize everything. There's a lot that you can do by modifying the note. And it really does create a win-win. And I know many people in that 2008 cycle, many of my students, my friends, they did this kind of like as a mission to help people who were in default. And they helped the borrowers, and at the same time, they made great money by working the non-performing notes. Another thing that you can do with the non-performing notes is to settle with the borrower. And the thing is that you can buy the note and then you can settle for either like a one-time payment, or you can settle for some cash now, some later. You might set it up for payment over time. I mean, there's so many things. The sky's the limit. What you would do is you would buy the note. Now you're going to need the cash. Well, you could do some creative things, but most people would use their own cash. They would buy the defaulted note. Now, like, let's say that it's a $20,000 note. You might buy that for $5,000. So there's $15,000 of equity in that note that you have to play with. So you call up the borrower and you say, you know, you owe me $20,000. I just bought this note from the bank. They say, we don't have $20,000. Well, how much do you have? Look, I've got $5,000. That's all I've got. Okay, how about if I'll accept the $5,000 and $100 a month for so many months. Or great, I'll just accept the $5,000 and no monthly payments. You've doubled your money in a matter of 30 days or something. So because the non-performing notes are bought at such a much larger discount, it gives you lots of room to work out a win-win with the borrower. Now, the other thing you can do is if you are wanting to build a portfolio of properties and you want to get a property really cheap, you buy a non-performing note and you could simply just step in and complete the foreclosure, or you could negotiate and get a deed in lieu. The thing is, if you complete the foreclosure, there's no guarantee that you're going to wind up with the property. You might, but you might not. But when you own the property, the note, you have leverage. And so you can go to the borrower and you can say, hey, instead of ruining your credit with a foreclosure, how about you give me the deed to the property? And you can even offer them money. You can offer them moving money or security deposit or whatever you need to. But that way it ensures that you actually get the deed to the house. And it's a great way to acquire properties. I know a lot of people back then that bought properties for pennies on the dollar. And who knows if we're going to head back to those times or not. But certainly you can get the properties at a huge discount. Now, one thing that I want to mention is if you are buying a pool of notes, you cannot contact the borrower. If you do that before you actually own the note, you will be blackballed because privacy laws prevent you from going to the homeowner until after you've bought the note. But I want you to know that, one, I'm not buying pools of notes. I buy my defaulted notes one at a time, and I use a completely different method than other people. I buy a list, I send out what I call my from the heart letter, and I get the borrower to call me. And then I call the bank, and they have to talk to me because the borrower's given me an authorization for the bank to talk to me. And so they have to talk to me. And that is certainly not illegal. But if you were to they call it a tape, which is really just an Excel spreadsheet, you cannot call the borrower from that. You need to make your offer based on what you see or what you can find out in the public arena. Okay. Okay, I would like to share just one non-performing deal that one of my students did, because I think it's one of the best deals I've ever seen for a non-performing note. It is fantastic. And he did get this at a huge discount. He had found this non-performing note that was listed. It was a $14,000 square foot warehouse and office building that was for sale. And it had a potential market value of $784,000. And it had originally been listed for $599. And then he saw that not only was it listed low to begin with, but then it was reduced again to only $419. And then it was reduced to $370. Then it was reduced to $199,000. And it's like, why didn't this thing sell? This is a lot of money. And it just keeps taking a hit and taking a hit and taking a hit. And so he did some homework and he found out that it was a nightmare. There were liens on the property. There was $150,000 of federal and state tax liens. There was $190,000 first mortgage that was in default. There were mechanics liens, utility liens. It needed repairs. The owner was going through both a bankruptcy and a divorce at the same time. And the real kicker was that there were $45,000 in property taxes that sold at the county auction. And the owner did not redeem the property taxes by the deadline. So it's like, how much worse can it get, right? So Jim, my student, looks at this, and I can't believe when he told me this. I think the balance owed was $190,000. He offers the bank $1,500, not $15,000, $1,500. Well, the bank declined, and I wasn't surprised. But then he turns around and he offers $15,000, and guess what? The bank agreed, and they sold him this $190,000 note for $15,000. So he gets his note purchase agreement signed, and before he closed, he hired an attorney to review especially the tax deed situation. He finds out that the company that bought the tax lien had failed to file for the tax deed within the allowed time. And so the tax deed situation was invalid. It just got wiped out. It was gone. What a great opportunity for Jim. And he's got this under contract. So needless to say, he verifies that all the other liens are going to be wiped out. And he goes ahead and he buys the note, contacts the owner. The owner was really nice and cooperative, but he said, look, I'll help you with a foreclosure. I'll take you all through the property. But he says, I do not want, I don't want to work anything out. I just went out of this. So Jim foreclosed on the property. He got a $784,000 property for $19,000. That's his attorney fees and the $15,000 purchase price. So based on a fair market value of rent of $550 a square foot, that's an income of $77,000 a year for life. $77,000 a year for a $15,000 or $19,000 investment. Isn't that a sweet deal? Man, I'd love to do those all day long. So it was a lot of work for him, you know, and it took him time. I will tell you something that I have found out on the non-performing notes. The bigger the can of worms it is, the bigger the profit. If you have the tenacity to go through the paperwork and check all these things out, you can really make some good money on the non-performing notes. Now, that's just a few examples of some of the things you can do with non-performing notes. The sky is really the limit. I have one other deal that I'd like to share with you, and then I will close. This is my all-time favorite deal. And it is my favorite because it's my very first deal that I ever did. This goes back to when I was babysitting 5 kids for $1 an hour. And I had sent out 6 letters. First of all, you couldn't buy a list like you can today. I literally had to go to the courthouse. It took me all day. I came home with 6 names of 6 individuals who held notes. I was ready to throw them in the trash. I'm not kidding. And then I thought, wait a minute, I spent the whole day working on this. So I sent out 6 letters and I got this deal from one of those 6. I get a call from this young fella, David. He and his brother had inherited a free and clear 4 family from their aunt who had passed away. It had a fair market value of $114,000. These 2 boys were as different as can be. You'd never know they were brothers. Daniel was very responsible. He took care of the property, painted, mowed the lawn, collected rents. He did everything with the property. David, on the other hand, he was on drugs. He was always in trouble, couldn't hold down a job. He was a total bum. So needless to say, they didn't get along. And so Daniel, the responsible brother, buys out David. And in doing so, they create a $32,000 first mortgage secured by a $114,000 property. Wouldn't you love to have that for collateral? I mean, that's a super, super, super safe deal. So when David called me, 13 payments had been made and there were still 71 payments left, a balance just over $28,000. I'm sorry, I didn't flip that quick enough. So I like to make 2 offers. My first offer was, I'll buy the entire remaining balance. I'll give you $20,000 for the $28,000 balance. My second offer, oh, by the way, had he accepted that, I would have been making 21.5%. Remember I said that if you find the deals, you can get very high rates of return without even doing anything? That's no early payoff. If I had just bought this note for $20,000, sat back, collected payments, I'd be making 21.5% secured by all this equity in this 4 family. I also made a second offer. Quite honestly, a lot of times they take the second offer where instead of buying the whole thing, I said, I'll just buy the next 36 payments, and I'll give you $12,000 for that. And it just so happens he took that. And the reason I think they take it is it's like they can have their cake and eat it too. They get some cash now, but he knows that after 3 years, he'll get those monthly payments coming in again. So this worked out that I was buying this at a 28% return. So again, if I had put in my own $12,000, I'd be making 28% of my money. But remember, I'm babysitting for $1 an hour. I don't have $12,000. So I sold this to an investor. The investor paid me $14,222. I paid David the $12,000. I had about $450 in costs. You can tell how long ago that was. That was for title and appraisal, both of them. So on my first transaction, I made $1,722. That was like striking gold. I mean, I was ecstatic, but it gets better. I send David a letter. Dear David, it was really a pleasure doing business with you. If you ever decide to sell the rest of the note, give me a call. I'll give you $6,000 for the rest of the note. Now, time out here. Do you see what just happened? I was going to give him $20,000 for the whole note, but I've already given him 12, and now I'm only offering 6. So he just lost $2,000. But nonetheless, I have planted the seed that if he ever needs money, he knows who to call. Well, the big question is, how long do you think it took him to blow $12,000? It wasn't long at all, just a couple months. I get a call from David, and I'm not kidding. He was in jail, and I was his one phone call. He didn't call an attorney. He didn't call his mother. He needed cash, and he knew where to get it. So it was the strangest thing. I got the call. I said, no problem. And what I did was I did a quick update on the title. I called one of the gals in the local RIA group who was a notary. She went with me, and literally we went into the Boone County jail. They locked us in the jail cell with him. And I bought the second half of the note sitting in the Boone County, Kentucky jail. So if you ask me if I've ever been locked up, yes, I was, but it was for a good purpose. I wasn't in trouble. So anyway, turned around and I sold that to an investor, and I made $3,600 on the second part. So on my very first deal, I made $5,372. Now, can you imagine what that was like for someone who was babysitting for $1 an hour? My husband made just a little more than minimum wage. We were struggling to put food on the table, and now I've got $5,372. It was life-changing, and that's why I love to share this deal. And it's not the $5,000 that was life-changing. It's because once I did this, I went, yeah, this works. If I did it once, I can do it again. And I've done it hundreds of times since then. And so that's what I mean. It was just a life-changing thing. And so if you are looking for a way where where you want some cash, you want to be able to work from home. And I mean, this is a great way. Like if you have children, if you have parents that you're taking care of, if you just prefer to be at home, this is a great way to make money. You don't have the headaches of owning the property, but you've got all the security. And I've done all kinds of things over 35 years. Just about everything having to do with real estate, I've done it. I've done lease options, rent to owns. I've flipped houses. You know, I've done rehabs. I've owned rental properties. I've done it all. And hands down, the fastest, easiest, safest way to make money in real estate is to do notes. So if you want to learn, take advantage of this offer. You're not going to see anything this good coming from me because like I said, made this a special offer for Traction RIA. And I didn't even put on my slides. Let me get to my closing slide. You get all of my legacy materials. You get my online academy. You get the 6 months of coaching, actually 8 months of coaching. And remember, that's where you find the deal. I teach you how to do that on Saturday. Okay. And you get the materials, and I'll pay the $29. If you've already paid the $29, we'll apply it to it. But come Saturday, I'll show you how to find them. When you find a note, you send me a submission point. And from that point on, I personally will walk you through the transaction. You'll work with the note seller. I'll do all the back end. We'll use my investors. And when we close, we split the profit. And when we close, if you close a transaction within 6 months, well, actually, I should have said 8 months. I'm going to let this extend as far as your coaching. So through June 30th of 2024, if you close a deal with me by then, you get your half of the profit, plus you get an extra $1,000 out of my side of the profit, okay? Because the reason I do that is it's an incentive. Because if you close one deal, you will be just like me, and you'll go, yes, and you'll keep closing and closing and closing, and I'm happy to help you, and we will continue to work together until you feel comfortable to go out and do it on your own. So again, it's only 2 payments of $748.50, or you can save $200. It would be 1 payment of $1297. And don't forget that you can come free to the advanced workshop, which is on December 2nd, and that's a $397 value. Okay. Okay. Any other questions?
Well, let's see, Donna. A couple are in the chat. I'm just gonna go back in reverse order. It's easier to scroll. Is there going to be a recording of the December boot camp if they can't make it on the day?
Yes, there will be. So you will get the recording.
Sign up for the program and you're set because you'll get the recording.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Good to know. Stan's asking, what if he already purchased your buyer's master guide, your no buyer's master guide last year and procrastinated and hasn't started yet? Is there a lot of new changes in the package this year?
Well, did you get the online academy? If it depends on if you got the online academy. But
Stan mentioned that in the chat, and we'll sort you out. Let's see, Donna. Let's see. If here's another question: if I have a servicer or buy in an IRA, I won't need any type of state or federal authorization or license.
no, you shouldn't.
You shouldn't. Okay, good. Rolling back.
Wait, unless you're, excuse me, Tom, I'm sorry. Unless you're buying a non-performing note. If you are buying a non-performing note in your IRA, you would still need a servicer. But for the seller carrybacks, no, you don't.
Okay, so seller carrybacks, no. Non-performing, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Okay, Paul is asking, aren't most notes being sold today from a much lower percentage, say down to even 2%?
Sold at what? I'm sorry.
A much lower percentage, say down to 2%.
I have never heard of those. And I'm also not sure if he means or she 2% off of the current balance or discounted to yield 2%, which are different things. I can tell you that we're taking pretty large discounts because, well, it depends on when the note was originated. If it's well seasoned, it was written like today, the one I quoted on was 3%. But I discounted it to yield 12%. Okay. But if it was created a year ago, it's much more likely to be 7 or 8%. And so I don't have to discount it as much to get a 10 or 12% return. But I am not familiar at all with what you're talking about with a 2% discount. I don't know of anything like that today.
Gotcha. That's fine. I'm gonna trust your angle on it. It's all good. Now, forgive me if I read any questions that Carolina's feed froze up again. So I used to tease her that the internet at times down there can be 2 tin cans and a piece of string.
Yes, I agree. That's a good one, Tom.
But it's gotten better over the years, but I still like to tease her.
Yes.
Let's see. Another question from Paul. Doesn't the IRA have to invest something to get an investment return? How is that done?
Okay, so do you remember that I mentioned that I give the note seller earnest money?
Yes.
So that is one way to do it. And I also, if you come to the advanced workshop on December 2nd, I am going to show you an exclusive new strategy, and it will answer that question as well.
Okay, totally awesome. Another question here. How do you collect on the note without a debt collector's license?
Okay, well, so that's where I answered that before. Okay.
That's all right. Sorry, I told you I might want to roll it. Good. Oh, Paul's following up his comment saying mortgages used to be around 2%. Therefore,
I don't understand what you're saying. Do you mean that they were written at 2% interest rate?
Yeah.
Do you mean that you were buying them for 98 cents on the dollar? Or do you mean that they were discounted to yield 2%? I can't answer the question because I'm not clear on what it is.
Gotcha. No
But
problem.
if you give me the details, I'm happy to answer it.
Okay, gotcha. All right, let's see. Paul, I'll leave that to you to pop that back in there. And Stan's not remembering what he purchased or not. He purchased in 2022. So that's
And
good.
why don't you email us and we'll figure something out.
Yeah.
And
I'll take care of Stan. And
Yeah.
sorry, I'm back.
Hey, you're back. All right. I was just making jokes about 2 tin cans and a piece of string, like the old kids telephone game. And someone keeps cutting the piece of string. I don't
No,
know.
sorry. It's don't blame it on the Colombia internet. I think it's my computer with Zoom. It's not the Colombian internet.
All right.
But I'm here.
Not to disparage the whole country's internet. It's all good. Awesome. All right. So you're going to take care of Stan, and then Donna, I think we're in good shape. So, again, I know Carolyn has said this before, but yeah, thanks, particularly that added bonus on December 6th. That's phenomenal and very, very sweet of you. I appreciate it.
thank you. Thank you. Okay.
All right. So,
Yeah, I saw several
yeah.
registrations coming in already. So fantastic for Saturday and for your system as well. They're all
Awesome.
ready to go. Awesome.
I really hope that if you're interested in notes that you can make the Saturday, because that is the key. I personally learn a lot better from teaching rather than reading, and so if you can do that, that would be great. And then Tom, do you do a recording of the Saturday that you provide to them later or not?
Yes, if they, 'cause a couple people asked me about that because they're having problems clearing their calendar for Saturday, but they really want to be there. So, well, Saturday will be recorded, but the only way to get it is if you actually have a ticket for Saturday. So, Carolina dropped the ticket link back into the chat. Do that, and we can hook you up with the recording of Saturday. And
I don't know if you read the last two questions, Tom.
Oh, let me
One
see.
from
Go back.
Paul and one from
Paul's following on the conversation we've been having. So Donna, Paul's saying, well, interest rates have risen, so he figures that we're not going to be finding deals where the interest rate is 10%.
Oh, I get it now. I totally get it. Thank
Gotcha.
you, Paul, for clarifying that. Now I understand. Okay, you're correct. It's not real easy to find a note that you can buy where the interest rate is 10%. Just like you said 2%, I quoted today on one at 3%. You were right. But do you remember when I said that there are 2 profit centers for notes? You've got, say, 2% interest that they're paying. But because you bought it at a discount, that discount will raise your rate of return. If it's your own money, it will raise your rate of return very easily to 10 or 12%. And that's what makes notes so cool. I mean, you can discount it just like on my deal with David. I discounted that and my return was 28%. But that was a substantial discount. Let's see, it was a $32,000 balance, and I bought it for $28,000. I want to say, I can't remember. No, that was when I bought the 3 years of payments for $12,000. I'd have to figure out the present value of that. But my point is, when people need cash, they take a larger discount. And the more of a discount that they take, the higher your return. And it is very, very easy in today's market to be buying at a 10 and 12% return.
Gotcha. Awesome. And
I got that worked out. That was
third time's that charm. Thank you for your patience, Paul. Another question here. Our seller care from L Diaz. Again, our seller, let me read that again. Our seller carried notes different than purchasing notes from the bank?
Very much so. Generally speaking, the banks typically sell only non-performing. And again, remember, it's the small community banks and the credit bureaus that will sell individual non-performing notes. They typically sell their performing notes, many of them, to Fannie Mae or they will package them and sell them to hedge funds. It is unusual, not impossible, but it is unusual to buy a performing note from a bank. So bank notes are typically non-performing, and seller carrybacks are usually performing.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. I think we hit the bottom of the Q&A list.
Yeah.
And that's fantastic. So Erica's saying, thanks so much. Donna, this was great information with a big old heart, a big red heart. Good. Paul saying, got it. Thanks. Awesome. And let's see. Tim's asking, do you bid on notes at auctions? And can the bidding bring the rates down to a lower percentage?
I do not bid at auctions, but certainly you could bid. But I'd have to know what the auction was and be able to really answer that more.
Sure. Gotcha. All right, cool. And
I think we are good, Tom.
For Saturday's class, that's a good one to pop in there. So I think it accidentally went through as a private message. Let me put it back in here. It's tractionria.com/Donna. I like to keep things simple. There we go. That's the Saturday class. And which Donna's been gracious enough to let you get the recording of that as well if you have a ticket for the Saturday. Awesome. And then we can put the entire if you're interested in Donna's systems, those are the links right there. Oh, Kevin and I, great minds think like and hitting the key at the exact same. Look at that. But we're in good shape. So here's what's going to happen. Donna, we'll say goodbye for now. We'll see you on Saturday morning, bright and early. And then I'll mute off. Carolyn will mute off. I'm going to leave the Zoom open for a few minutes. That we could clear out the private chats and stuff that came in. Carolina, anything else?
Thank you again, Donna. No, thank you. We're excited for Saturday. I'll be your host on Saturday. I will have 3 different computers. So if my Zoom crashes on one, then I'll move to the other one. And then if not, then phone. So don't worry. I will take care of you Saturday.
I have one other comment. So if when you purchase, we will send you a welcome email with all your access links. My assistant needs to do that, so it will probably be tomorrow before that happens, but we'll get it out to you right. Okay.
Yep. So I will send you the report of everybody that invested in the system today. I'll give it a few, like by 10 p.m. and then you have it, and then if someone tomorrow the same, and then we'll be ready for the rest of the attendees on Saturday. But thank you again, Donna. This was awesome.
Thank you. I will see you on Saturday. Good night,
Thanks,
everybody.
Donna. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
You're welcome. All right, everyone. So for our November 2023 traction control, it's not traction controller night, is it? That's the other program. For the Traction Real Estate Investors Association, November 2023. Getting close to Christmas. I'm going to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving if I don't see you before then. And if we don't see you on Saturday, have a very happy Thanksgiving. Looking forward to seeing you guys soon. Remember, big changes coming for next year. So we'll be sending emails out about that. Pay attention, and we'd love to meet you at one of these awesome beer and real estate networking events coming up. That'd be great. So the Zoom is going to stay open for a few minutes so we can clear out the chat. Take advantage of those links now. And if your frequent attendee card is being virtually stamped right now. Awesome, gang. Thanks for being here this evening for Traction Real Estate Investors Association. It's Tom and Carolina ZEEB signing off.